Yeah, I had to fix a few things. I was just kind of just trying to cliffhang a bunch of crap last time. So I pointed at the wrong cave
Mm-mm.
and mentioned multiple cells. You're actually all in one big cell.
Good.
And
Looks
basically
like it.
the way it went before, and you assume it'll be again, is that the prisoners are split into three groups throughout the day in shifts.
Hmm.
And historically, they tried to pair some of the weaker people with stronger. Like basically, they had like a mixed team, basically, and they tried to keep people separate who seemed like they were friendly with each other and things like that. So you can probably assume that based on you all being returned to the prison after a failed prison escape, they're going to be actively trying to separate you as much as possible from any of these work details. There are numerous other prisoners still in here. Some of them might have been here before. Some of them might be new. Um, and then just a few. Like we'll get into more like real-time role-playing montage type material, depending on how you want to do this. But inside this cell, I'm sure some of you tried at some point, or someone did, but you know that it seems like magic does not function in here. But you've seen the guards or the drow priestesses cast magic into the cell to punish people.
Oh.
Like they're very fond of a the spell Ray of Sickness, which
Oh.
just causes people to lash out
Instant.
with like violent, disgusting sickness, like being poisoned almost. And that was like one of their favorite means of like from a distance punishing people and inflicting wounds on them within the cell.
That's
So clearly,
awful.
magic can work outside the cells, but this thing appears to be like magically warded in some way. You're all pretty much stripped down into your undergarments or just like bare clothing. There are absolutely no comforts in this prison cell. You either sit or lie on the stone floor. You are only fed once per day, and it's always a thin mushroom broth served in small clay bowls that they pass to you through the bars in the prison cell. And actually, make sure everyone's got the. So
Interesting.
between the poster, the top-down map, and the side view map, let me just kind of give you your bearings here a little bit. So this circle
Oh.
is the chamber that you're in. And then if we zoom out a bit and kind of look at it with the poster up, if we zoom out here, so you're in this cell. In the side view, you can kind of see the doors on the screen left of the side view image with the barred doors. That's your prison cell. The hanging spires are almost like inverted towers that have been sculpted, and you imagine there's probably multiple levels in there. And then there is a big waterfall that comes out from like a fissure, a crack in the ceiling of this cavern. Now, again, looking at the side view and the top down and the side together, or the poster view, um, basically you're in a very elevated, massive open portion of the Underdark right now. There is in all three dimensions just crisscrossed webs and layers that go underneath the level that you're on, filled with giant spiders, cocoons, all these things. So like if you look at the
Oh
top
yeah,
down
God,
view
I hate
zoomed out,
spiders.
in this area here, if you can see that big pink circle, imagine hundreds of feet down, probably about a couple hundred feet down, that would be the closest thing that you could call the ground level, and the waterfall goes down into a pool down there, and there's a
Oh.
big winch with a huge cargo elevator essentially that lowers down to that level for bringing troops up, bringing supplies up. Sometimes they send you in a work detail down to that level. It's not uncommon for you to have to empty your chamber pots or the chamber pots of others actually down in the pool below. And sometimes you gather fresh water from the bottom of the falls.
Oh,
So
gross.
again, imagine it in three dimensions here, looking at the poster. You're up on this like 200-foot high level, big nets of crisscross spider webbing everywhere between you and the lower level, and then a winch elevator hanging over that lowers up and down. And usually one of the work details will be working with the quaggoth, those big hulking creatures, to kind of like, a couple people kind of to turn and move this thing that operates on a series of pulleys and levers. And there's about four of these inverted towers throughout, connected by rope bridges, and several other chambers and guard outposts in the cavern walls.
Having walked around, on our work details and stuff, are the spider webs actual spider webs, or are they like rope? Okay.
Yeah. And there are trained giant spiders that are basically pets of the drow.
Oh, wow, okay.
You've seen them feed on other prisoners.
Oh.
Cool.
So yeah, like if you imagine, like where these spires are, this line here, this is like the cliff's edge of your home in the outpost. So this outpost is up there. That's the edge of it. And then all of this down here is the down below.
Straight down.
And there are several pathways that seem to lead out into the Underdark. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see what you're paying, but I was on a different map. I was like, wait, what am I missing? But I see it now.
You got it now? Okay. Yeah, if you need me to... It took me a little while myself to try to like map all this together. So if you need clarification at all,
no,
just
you're doing great.
Throw it out there.
Yeah.
So like this is your cell. This is your home. You've seen the main guard outpost seems to be here. It like kind of outlooks over all the different spots. And then you can smell them. You've probably been there to clean them. The quaggoth have their own sort of chamber here. Okay. There are other, over in this area, other sort of guard barracks, like a mess hall. And then it seems like the big, most important spot is this guy here, which appears to be where like the priestesses go, the head guard, stuff like that. So that's sort of the really rough lay of the land. I'll let you can kind of pan around and look at that as I tell you a few more things. So yeah, your pen is enclosed with a very heavy iron gate, which is bolted into the stone. Again, you get that thin mushroom soup. It's not very filling. It's just enough to sustain you. You get that once a day. That's the only meal you get. You're always teetering on the edge of like incredible hunger and exhaustion, but again, like you're just enough to work and not be exhausted essentially. And there are clay chamber pots all throughout your prison cell. Each prisoner probably has one that they consider their own, and that's your bathroom. And one of the tasks is you're made to clean and dump other people's, and you kind of like, how like you don't mind the smell of your own shit, like, but you smell other people's, you're forced to clean and dump theirs down below in the pool. And yes, there are giant spiders who have made this thing. So when you've been down below, any of you who have been down below, when you look up, anyone traveling through the Underdark would have no idea that this outpost was up here. Like, it's just completely camouflaged in. Like, you would just be moving through the Underdark and have no idea this was above you.
I smell you're stepping in.
Yeah. And most of you spend most of your day locked in this slave pen, and it's only like, again, one time a day that you get to emerge, usually under heavy guard, to perform sometimes practical chores, but mostly menial chores, many of them fairly absurd, and it's undoubtedly that you'll be put through many more of them in your recapture. You're manacled. And I tried to find a good example, but basically you've got a heavy iron collar, and your arms are chained and manacled to that around the neck and a belt. This is the best shitty image I could find on short notice. It's kind of like that, but just imagine that there's like a belt there too. So it's enough that you can work, but you're kind of restrained, and you're still fully mobile. Like there's no slow down on your mobility. Let's see, what else?
I have a question.
Yeah, this is interactive. Hit me.
Have we been beaten and or tortured, and how often and for how long?
Yes.
Except for Elric or Itrick.
Who was the one that just refreshed my memory? Who was the one that like got a piece of that nose? Yeah, that was you.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
that's
Oh,
part of the
no.
reason why I was asking, because I
Yeah.
kind of assumed.
Yeah. You note that she healed herself almost fully, but there's a scar there.
Oh.
Put her nose is back.
We'll get into some of that in a short bit here. And yeah, so the main priestess Ilvara. Let me just pull up. Let's do a little.
Show and tell.
It's gonna be a lot of show and tell info dump initially, and then we'll kind of circle back into real-time roleplay. So this is gonna be a little heavy on the RP side, but it depends on what you all do. So you've heard the name plenty of times. Ilvara of the House Mizrum appears to be the top brass here. She's apparently calling all the shots. She's got a normal barbed whip, which is what she usually uses. For Yuzon, she broke out a tentacle rod, which is like a special drow defining item. Basically, it's a weapon that ends in 3 rubbery living tentacles. And you've been attacked with it. They suck onto you. They latch onto you. They seem to suck the life force out of you. It's not an enjoyable experience. And she's kind of made a point to just slash you across the face with this thing several times, like letting it rake across the bridge of your nose. She's had several of her drow guards break your nose several times, and then she's, forcefully healed you again, only to, it's this very, very cyclical sort of process to just completely wear you down. But this is Ilvara. We'll talk about some of her relationships in a moment here. I'll just pull this up. Now, you know that her apprentice, a drow woman named Asha, some of you probably seen her in the patrols. She probably had her heal the rest of you up, like it felt a little bit beneath her. Asha is also the one who seems to tend to a lot of the tasks related to the spider goddess Lolth, which is a probably pretty well known god that most of the drow worship. And so Asha is basically like just under Ilvara in terms of stature. She seems like a very aspiring priestess. Who could easily be in Ilvara's position, but probably because of the house she's from. You've heard the last name Vandry thrown about. But some of you probably done tasks related to things that she needed for, they have, a shrine to Lolth, which is in that main spire, the main tower. And yeah, she seems friendly enough with Ilvara, but is clearly subordinate to her. Now, our next two sort of drow of note is one guy who you all knocked to a state of unconsciousness, and you'll note that he is also from House Vandry. His name is Shore, and he seems like a younger, very cocksure drow. And this guy, some of the other prisoners have been whispering, and some of you who are here might have noticed before, is carrying with him he's got a wand at his side. A wand that you saw another slightly older drow wielding before. So it's very clear that basically him and this other drow named Jorlin have sort of swapped positions in terms of stature. Jorlin is also much more scarred on the face and appears to be... he's got like a little bit of a limp to him. And for whatever reason, whatever happened, both Shorelin and Jorlin seem to have swapped positions in this internal hierarchy here at the outpost. And currently Shore appears to be basically the top male drow and the head of all of the guards. Now, the guy that he replaced is Jorlin, who looks like a bit of a grizzled veteran here from House Duskrin. And again, like you probably just heard, you've heard these names, you've heard the other prisoners mention them. Now, that being said, there's plenty of other drow warriors here, although you're not sure if there are any other females. I think most of the others are probably males, of sort of like, based on the armor they're wearing and the equipment and how you've seen them move about. Some of them seem like they're slightly more elite than the others, and others are just kind of grunts. And we're not going to get into the details on any of them at the moment, but those are your 4 top drow.
Cool.
Now, the other prisoners in the cell with you here, let's just fucking zoom in on that. And I'm going to just a couple of these guys out. So, I believe at a minimum, Zahn, when you're not being tortured, you've been quite cozy with Jimjar.
Jimjar.
Who's a? I'm gonna use the Underdark proper names after tonight, but basically Sverfneblin are deep gnomes. Deep gnomes. They're a subrace of gnomes, native to the Underdark. Now, yeah.
I was gonna say, I know who I'd want to be next to in my times of untorture.
Okay. Well, what I want to do, just because this is like a big sort of next story arc setup, is just kind of dump a lot of shit out there. I'm sure a lot of it will fall through the cracks, and then we'll get more granular, and I'll stop jabbering 5,000 things.
Well, I didn't know if that was already predetermined.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, some people reached out and said you know what, like I have a thing I want to do and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Cool. So Jimjar, and I would say at least our 2 rangers are fairly familiar with Underdark, some of the species here. And there's probably some stereotypes even those of you who aren't specialized in this would have some sense of. And deep gnomes are usually considered very dour, very very grim in terms of personality. Jimjar defies that. He's got the personality of a bard almost. And so he's very, very talkative. He is always betting on everything, virtually anything and everything. And the more he gets to know you, the more he's always just kind of oh, I bet on your guard duty, you can't scrounge back some food from the kitchen when you're cleaning it up or whatever, anything and everything. Some people might find him annoying, but he can be very charismatic. And as far as you've seen on any bets he's made, he's always true to his word and seems to know the exact amount of his debts and credits, and he always pays out. Yeah, that's Jimjar.
I like Jimjar.
Seems very crafty. Ront is the big orc, usually keeping to himself and glaring at the female dwarf, and likely Oscar, now that Oscar's back. Ront is on the surface what you'd expect. He is just a very gruff, big orc. Seems mean, stupid, possibly very hateful. You can see him clenching his tusks every time he's being commanded. You want me to clean up the dwarf? The drow definitely asked him to clean up the dwarf's chamber pot, and you could see him fuming.
But they shit a lot.
And he's always threatening and bullying people, especially the weaker or more passive prisoners here. That's Ron. Maybe not a lot on the surface. Speaking of other Sverfneblins, there are a brother and sister, Topsy and Turvy. Let me pull them both up. Oops, let me just undo that here. Topsy's the girl.
Okay.
Hold on.
I love the idea of mixing that up.
They look the same. They look identical.
Okay, so Topsy's the girl. So, in terms of Svirfneblin, male Svirfneblin rarely have much hair. Females tend to have like some, and then like kind of like almost like an old woman, like where it's sort of balding, and there's long hair at the back and at the sides. So they almost seem like twins. Um, and out of the two of them, Topsy's like the ultra talkative one. Turvey's always like grumbling, really gruff, always mumbling to himself. You can almost never make out what he's saying. And she's often like trying to translate for him and sort of talk over him. Yeah. They claim to have been from a deep gnome city named Blingdenstone. It's a big city in the Underdark, primarily made up of Svirfneblin. Let me just go ahead and pull this guy over here. Okay. Now the very, very quiet fishman, a Kuo-toa. And Kuo-toa are, some of you may have heard of them. Typically they look a little more crazed, like this. Like little fish humanoids. Stereotypically, they're known to be or thought to be a little bit mad, a little bit crazy, and unstable. Now, this Kuo-toa, a Kuo-toa male named Shushar, who is jokingly referred to. It's a name he's embraced apparently as Shushar the Awakened. He is very much the epitome of a pacifist monk, like a Buddhist or something, right? He's very unusual. He's very hermetic in behavior. He's always very calm and peaceful. He almost has a serene aura about him, and he's very aware that people view Kuo-toa as mad, and he claims to have spent his lifetime contemplating in solitary meditation ways to overcome this wrongful legacy of his people. And he exudes this aura of enlightened balance, and he seems to have done that. So if you believe or have ever experienced anything with Kuo-toa and believe them to be mad, he defies that concept when you see him, when you interact with him. And he's often just meditating in the center of the prison cell. We also have a Quaggoth who is probably very off-putting. And again, normally Quaggoth are these huge hulking beasts, not so huge that they're considered large creatures or anything like that, but very large for a medium-sized creature, like even bigger than the orc. He's clearly the most scary and menacing looking creature in the prison cell with you. But this one is much more upright in posture and very refined and only speaks Elvish when you talk to him. And he claims to be suffering from a curse and calls himself Prince Darren Dill. And he claims that he is an elf from the High Forest and was cursed into this form. He's not sure if it was the drow who did this to him or what. He's clearly like fighting the bestial sort of mind of the body he inhabits right now. But he's looking for a way out of here and trying to cure himself. That's Prince Darendil. Near him currently is a male Darrow, which is close to a dark dwarf, a dwerger, but a much smaller, more maniacal race. Like they have no visible irises or pupil. It's kind of like almost all one white milky color, probably from living in the deep areas of the Underdark. But Bupido is surprisingly fairly friendly, very talkative, and seems very keen and sharp, like always watching, always studying. And he is fairly pleasant, like he's always open and kind of looking for angles, and is clearly a survivor. Small though he is. And we have another dwarf in the cell, a woman named Eldith Feldrin. She claims to hail from the dwarvish massive city of Gauntlgrim, which has levels that go down into the underworld.
Whoa, that's a beard.
Oh yeah, she's a baller.
She's hot as fuck.
She's clearly like a dwarvish warrior. And she seems very spirited, very proud, and her and the orc are always kind of glaring at each other and butting heads and look like they're ready to just fucking go at it. She seems very stubborn, and has made several hateful comments about drow and other corrupt dark dwellers, including other prisoners in the cell here.
That's me.
She doesn't look at you very kindly. She wants to get back home, and she's made comments about her shield and warhammer and wanting to recover them from the drow. And should anything ever happen to her, somehow they need to get back to Gauntlgrim. She seems very, very focused on this. In the far corner, the furthest corner, is an outcast male drow. Goes by the name of Sereth Keskaret. And you've heard the whispers, you heard the rumors, you've seen the other guards spit at him. He's very sullen, Sereth, and he keeps to himself, usually rebuffing any attempts in conversation. But he is a disgraced drow. And he seems resigned to this fate. Doesn't seem to be anything he can do about it. Apparently, he's accused of murdering one of his fellow drow warriors. Some of the prisoners whispered that it was in a fit of madness. You've heard Sereth at times claim that he has no memory of it, and he seems to kind of vary between thinking the whole thing was a setup to just accepting the fact that maybe it did happen and maybe he killed another drow on one of the patrols. But you get the sense that he was with this group of guards that watches over the outpost here. And last but not least is our little friend Stool, which is a myconid. Myconids are a group of peaceful, sentient mushroom humanoids, I guess you could say, or at least that if that helps you understand it. He's very lonely and frightened, but super friendly. He's almost like a little kid brother. Like he's always like looking for any prisoners who seem remotely friendly and kind of latching on, like always following around, like like kind of waddling around near you. And Stool seems very helpful. It's with him that you and some of the other prisoners were able to talk amongst yourselves telepathically. It seems like 3 times a day he can spread these spores called rapport spores, and any creatures that they are latched onto can communicate with each other in sort of like a pseudo hive mind collective. And potentially this is what you use to communicate with yourselves and other prisoners in your last prison escape. And for whatever reason, maybe he didn't go along. Maybe he was too scared. He does seem a little frightful at times. But now that you're back, he seems like really antsy on like wanting to get out of here. It seems like things have taken a dark turn.
I want to bring this little toadstool with us, man.
I know, right? I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we see Urki anywhere?
Yeah, actually, Urki is here with you. And he seems to have been beaten nearly as badly as Zahn. But Urki is here with you, and is in the cell as well as Ezric.
Oh, hello, Urki and Ezric.
Has Ezric been? How many of us have been beaten?
All of you. Yeah.
Except for Ezric.
Including Ezric or no?
Mm-hmm.
He has to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Ro recognize Sereth as the Sereth from his past, or is it a different person?
That is a different person. Common name, maybe, in Menzo Berenson.
The E and the A, interchangeable.
I do want to... I know what I want to do. I want to tell Toadstool that it's probably better that he didn't go. As I look at him with a black eye and bruises all over my body. Hey, buddy, it's probably better that you didn't go, Stool. Let me know when you're going to use that mind brain stuff.
Yeah. Like so. So I imagine
You can already understand.
our first 8 episodes were in some capacity you all recounting your escape attempt, and maybe you got some decent intel out of it that could aid and abet a future attempt. But like he's kind of like I was so scared, but if you go again, you have to take me with you. I must make it back to Neverlight Grove. And this is kind of the voice you hear in your head. Obviously he's not talking. But Neverlight Grove, it sounds like it's his home. It's this. He calls it this tranquil place where the Myconid live peacefully.
Yes, absolutely.
Ow. Zom's just like lying, just like looking up at the ceiling. Do you guys remember how we got out of here last time?
I do, through a trap door that we could not get out again. We fell. Many feet.
Is that what happened?
That is what happened. We fell onto some sort of underground island, and there was no way back. Yeah. So it was foretold.
Fitty, is that what happened?
Well, at some point you were wandering. I mean, in your escape, you were traveling through the treacherous, often changing tunnels of the Underdark, and
like
there. Well, I don't know. I mean, well, like we can workshop that part. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, maybe at one point you all were put on a work group, maybe one that had to go down the lift to one of the lower levels, and it was during that time that you tried to overpower the guards and managed to kill some of them. Probably 1 or 2 prisoners died or didn't make it out with you, and maybe it just became like a full-on like run for it situation when you were separated from the upper level.
How many? I don't know who's been here the longest in this prison, but I assume we've seen a couple of escapes because there have been several prisoners ahead of us.
Yeah.
That have done. We ran into them. What were some of the ways that they escaped?
There was the Urkies group. He basically they took a jump for it. Essentially, when they were, I think they were. Let me see where on the map we would be. They were charged with cleaning up the guard tower, which is. I'm gonna close down some of these guys. Hold on here. Give me a moment or two. All right. So,
Instead of Tom Haverford, these are Jim Haverfords.
Yeah, exactly. Frank Haverford. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while.
So Urki's group was charged with feeding some of the spiders, and so basically when the spiders came up over the edge, basically they were feeding them a prisoner who didn't make it in pieces, I believe. They just jumped for it into the spider webbing.
Were we made to chop him up, or was he already in pieces?
You don't know that part.
Oh.
But this is Urki's group. This was like sometime before your escape. And that's why Urki still had something like that broken thing on him. Basically, they jumped into the spider webbing and then tried to make their way down into the Underdark from there.
Okay.
Oh, so jumping into the spider webbing leads us back to where we started.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, like, imagine, like, again, it took you 5 days from the Black Tree to travel through the Underdark with purpose to get back to the outpost. You know that there are at least a couple pathways from that lower level that lead out into different parts of the Underdark. The Underdark, like, you remember the huge overworld map of the Sword Coast?
Yeah.
Imagine underneath that is the Underdark, and it goes on for hundreds and thousands of miles. It's a whole world.
Welcome to the Underdark.
I have 2 more questions, and then I'll shut up. The first one is: are there currently guards outside this main gate? Like, I know that there's the giant guard house here.
Yeah.
But are there actual guards standing here and here?
Not currently, but you do know that from the inverted stalactite tower, looking directly across from you, that there are guards like watching.
And is this thing like an iron gate kind of thing?
Exactly.
Okay, and then my last question is:
does it swing open or does it retract into something?
No, it like a portcullis, like kind of,
goes up
like
and
like up and down vertically. Yeah.
Okay.
And my last question is: does Ilvara have the gym?
What is that question?
You think so?
Okay. She hasn't like taunted me with it as.
Oh no,
I've been
she definitely
tortured?
did. She definitely did. But she wasn't like wearing it or anything.
You want to share with the group? What's the gem, buddy? Why has she got the gem? Why is it important to you? Well, I'm standing over him. He's got a bloody nose, and like he's like, I'm like, what's the gem, dude? What's the gem?
Well, I haven't said anything about that yet. You're metagaming right now.
Oh no.
Yeah, Kyle. What?
No, you're metagaming.
Well, I was asking if if she was taunting me with it, because I assumed that I would have been dragged off alone to be tortured.
Yeah. So, that's most.
As they dragged me off for my solo torture, every now and again, I always say, "What? No group torture?" I'm not charismatic. I'm a wise ass.
I like that. Yeah.
Just one of you today.
A man of few words, but when he speaks, they are sarcastic as fuck.
Okay.
Yep.
So, as far as you know, your future life revolves around more occasional torture. Although, I mean, it certainly tapers off after the initial recapture, and they kind of ease back into work details. Now, again, like the only distinction here is that there's this many of you in the prison cell, and they have to divide you into 3 groups. They actively try to separate you all and other, people who seem friendly with each other in these groups, but it's impossible to do a perfect separation. So that is certainly a thing. And again, you only brought out once a day for work detail. For now, I'll give you the opportunity to just kind of be in what is usually the majority of your day, and that is sitting around or meandering about your cell on the brink of near exhaustion. And so most people are just kind of idling about. But here you are. You've got plenty of time in any of the number of days in your time here to talk amongst yourselves, engage with the other prisoners, shout into the nothing outside your cell at the guard tower or the spider webs, or you can kind of say, like, you know what, I just want to wait until this or that, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Getting in those chamber.
I'm gonna go straight with Toad or Stool.
Can't hear you, Kluge.
Oh, my super quiet?
Yeah.
How's that?
That's better.
A little better. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, did you new mic?
I'm messing with it, yeah.
Can you not hear the new mic?
I'm doing it.
Ow.
I hear it.
Oh.
And got sexy voices too.
Oh my god, yes.
That sounds great. What kind of mic is it? I want it now.
More of the mixing board than anything.
Yeah,
There
it's a
is
little magic.
you can hear the ambience of the waterfall flowing forever.
And the occasional ow.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Ow.
I got stuff I want to do. Unless you guys want to do stuff.
Yeah, you know,
Wow.
let's be respectful and just kind of pass the baton. You know,
Yeah.
and it could be collaborative or give everyone a chance here.
Yeah.
I'm honestly just readying my action. I'm talking to Stool and trying to coerce him into blowing his, spores, I guess you could say.
Mm.
And until that happens, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Ro.
I want to talk to Sereth.
Okay.
Hello, Sereth. Is it a common drow name? How do you find yourself here? What were you imprisoned for? I'm a drow as well, a half drow.
Kind of just scoffs at you and I want to talk to a half-breed.
This half-breed could murder you where you stand. You'd best respect me.
Apparently, murder is something I'm familiar with too. And he kind of just glares at you before looking away. Like he's just doing that thing where like you're staring at him and he's avoiding eye contact.
It's best that you avoid contact with your superiors.
Just kind of. If you're trying to like pry him and engage him, he is just so locked off.
Stonewalling.
Yeah, he's just stonewalling you. So you could try to get persuasive with him or intimidating with him. It depends on what angle you want to take.
Seraph, you see that dwarf over there? The one with the beard? I bet I could kill her where she stands. Would you talk to me then?
Jim Jar hears the words bet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's Jar?
Yeah.
That guy is like, that makes so much
He
sense.
runs all the way across.
I'm totally aware of this because I hear him say bet, and I was actually looking for Jim Jar. I was like,
Yeah.
where? Shouldn't he be around somewhere?
Almost appearing out of like nowhere. Jim Jar's like, oh yeah?
It's like a stoner at a party that knows someone's smoking pot in the back.
Yeah, like so Jim Jar's like here clocking the 2 or the 1.5 drow and the dwarf. He's like,
I expect answers should I kill this dwarf over here. She's
the
clearly
dwarf-
a warrior.
The dwarf doesn't appear to have heard your conversation, but Jim Jar has. And he's like, oh, yeah, you think you could? How
Easily,
much?
I know I could.
What do you want to bet?
I bet that you fuck off, and I get answers from Sereth.
Maybe I could help you get those answers.
All right. Here's the. she'll be dead in 30 minutes flat. That's my bet.
30 minutes, huh? Okay.
Do we hear this? Just out of curiosity.
It sounds like a moth is
yeah.
flying by your ears, but yeah, it's just like.
I just shoot a glance at Zahn.
Zahn hears that and he just like looks back up over his shoulder and makes eye contact with you and just does and then just kind of shrugs and looks back up at the ceiling.
Just laid out flat.
Yeah. Torture's hard.
And I look over to Oscar. What's Oscar doing? He's over right behind Zahn. My focus goes to Oscar.
Mr.
You said
Meyer.
we can't cast magic.
So,
Can't.
you in this cell, no magic appears to function whatsoever. And notably for you, at level 3, anything with life domain is automatically prepared for free. And then beyond that, you get your level plus your wisdom bonus number of spells to prepare, and that now spreads across level 1 and level 2 spells. So you could prepare 6 plus the other ones that are automatic for you.
Yeah, but I can't cast any of them.
In
Inside
this
the
cell.
cell.
In this cell. So you would have seen by now, and at least have some vague understanding that something appears to be warding this cell from magic. but magic outside of it has been cast into the cell at prisoners.
Okay.
Now, beyond that, you do not have any of you who cast spells, you do not have any material components, whether that's a focus item or actual like component pouch items. So any spells that have an M in there, like if you look at a spell, like let's say Cure Wounds, it's got a vocal and a somatic component, the V and the S, were in the components list. Anything that's got an M, you're gonna have to get a material component for that. Whether it's crafting and creating a new focus item, or recovering your taken one, or recovering components by foraging and stealing stuff. Regardless, even if you had those things, you don't think magic would work inside the prison cell.
Okay. I'm cut off from my god.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You feel like you can reach out to him, but his gifts don't seem to work. You should check off whatever you'd want to have prepared regularly in your prison state, if you want to contemplate that a little bit.
Yeah, prepared spells.
Why do I imagine that you're giving Zahn a foot rub? Like in my head. Sounds like I want to die.
Oscar
and like
has probably like, so one thing that has been a task has been giving foot rubs to like the guards and the priestesses, and Zahn's Oscar's been tapped more than most, unless you were like phoning it in, you know.
They're terrible foot massage.
Special warmth from it. I got strong hands though, so that helps.
Yeah, it does.
Ro, you can try your own angle, but it sounds like you're engaging in this wager with Jimjar.
Yeah, I'm engaging with the wager. Jimjar.
Sareth seems to just be like ignoring both of you.
Fine, I'll prove myself to you, Sareth. I'll be back, and you'd better speak up.
I say
when
to
I'm
Zahn,
done.
how much money do you have?
I've got a spider.
It's crawling over your mouth.
Honestly, like Zahn's just lying there, and I imagine the spider's like.
I look at my hands, and
every now and then you have to like catch it to like
Yeah.
not let it get away.
Yeah.
Look at my
whole
chest,
spider.
and there's still spider guts on my chest.
Oh.
When I smashed him. He's like, yeah, I don't have that either at all. I'm just asking because who would you bet on?
The dwarf probably.
Eric.
She seems very tough.
Yes.
And I'm not sure why he's picking a fight, but
I gotta earn this Drow's respect, man.
prison rules, I guess.
Yep,
you know?
prison rules.
I tickle as he goes up to him. I tickle the stool. Come on, buddy.
He's almost like a little puppy in his mannerisms, you know.
You'll have to excuse me for the bad touch, but I need your help.
He's getting clingy. He's kind of like following along a little bit. He seems to be moving with you.
I hope you took Beastmaster because this is your new pet.
I did not. Alright.
Okay.
I just kind of walk over towards Oscar and these guys, but just a little bit closer to this direction. With him. Yeah.
Okay.
Eldith, I've been sent here to kill you.
sorry. Yeah.
But I don't want to. And should you just give in, I won't kill you.
She kind of like scoffs at you. She's like, give in. I wouldn't give in to you.
Well then,
Ow.
you're just gonna have to
She kind
pay
of
the...
spits on the ground.
You'll regret that spit. I used my bonus action to use Hunter's Mark on her.
You try.
There's no M component. It's only verbal, and I taunted her.
and you are in a prison cell that seems to completely nullify any magic you cast.
I'm
So you-
confident that I cast that spell, even if it didn't
Yeah,
come out.
Yeah, you kind of like cast your curse mark on her, and she just glares at you and says, "Go away, drow. Half drow, full
As she
drow."
turns her head, I punch her in the face. Right in the beard.
You punch at her and she surprisingly like dodges the blow.
Uh-oh.
You sure you don't have any monies on?
Wait, did you
Said
did
with
you
on my left shoulder.
was that surprise technically? I don't know. I don't know if it is. He got in her face. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take the
Let's
miss.
see. It's gonna say Warhammer, but it's not.
Yeah. Do you want to
And
bet something?
she punches back at you and you
Whoa!
dodge.
Ooh, a common dwarf technique. I'm familiar with these. And then I yell at her. I yell out.
Oh, yep. I was curious if this guy was gonna get involved.
You see the orc kind of like she's hawking. He's like moving over. He's like,
He probably likes it.
fight, yeah, smash that dwarf. He just
He
kind
hates
of
her.
shouts
Oh.
towards her.
You're
All
gonna get
right.
an orc on your side.
Yeah, I got an orc. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
I don't know if that's what you want.
Oh,
Ranger.
he got
flexing.
big and small. Yeah. He got real big.
Yeah. The dwarf is like, she dodges you. She punches back. She's just staring.
Well, she's not staring anymore. I punch her in the beard.
You could see she was about to say, "Are you sure you want?" And you
Let's hear it. Let's hear the sound for unarmed strikes, please.
Right in the beard. It's a hollow beard.
you punch her right in the jaw, and it's quite a jaw.
Your hand breaks.
Oh no, I hope not.
I need to give her an unarmed attack, but I don't want to do it. So
You're
I'm gonna use
stuck in the
this.
beard.
Ooh,
Oh, no!
she returns the hit, and this should just be a D4 plus 1. So
Oh,
let
come
me
on.
do that right.
Nillion, do I need to sit up?
She punches you right on back for 4 points of damage.
All right. I'm just gonna keep striking her, and I'm gonna keep yelling at her.
Is there anything interesting happening, Nillion?
I'm trying to get the stool to fucking blow his wad.
You have to give him the little tickle, next to his head, on the side of his head. That always does it.
Jimjar and Ront appear to be moving closer. Those of you over in this area, you can kind of hear the sounds of guards approaching, but they don't seem intent on stopping it. They're just kind of like watching with a bit of amusement.
Me too.
I keep shouting at her as she probably returns the blow.
You clock her quite fucking hard. You speak Dwarvish?
I do.
Okay.
Surprise!
She looks at you with a bit of surprise in her face, and you can see her like staggering back from this blow against the wall. And you see her look a little confused as you start shouting in Dwarvish, and she just kind of like drops down to one knee. She like holds up her arms, like, and she responds in Dwarvish. She says, "Please, I don't want to die here." And she seems to basically just be yielding to you. And
Right.
Ront kind of moves in close enough to just and just spits like just a nasty, dry, thin mushroom soup flavored loogie, just splats right on the side of her face and starts dripping down, and she's just glaring at him.
All right, I walk up to Ront and I high five him, but then I move over to Eldeth and then I help her up. I extend a hand. I get her up.
Okay.
And then I shoot a glance over to Jim Jar and to Sareth.
Jim Jar looks at you and he's just nodding. Okay.
All right, what's
Okay.
Sareth doing?
Sarah, you could tell Sarah is like kind of watching out of the corner of his eye, but he's not engaged with you all at the moment. Yeah.
Sareth, have I not proven myself? Should we not be allies? We are of the same kind. We are like kind.
Jim Jar is kind of like shadowing you a little bit. And he kind of moves in and says, "Yeah, Sareth, why don't you just talk to him?" He's kind of like putting a hand on his shoulder, and he's very, very charismatic. And he, with advantage, tries to make with some persuasion.
Oh, he persuades.
Chapter 2.
But he got that 18. What?
Sareth, kind of like that very much, lets out a bit of a sigh, a very long release. And he looks up and says, "Fine. What will make you go away? What do you want from me?"
Drow rarely imprison their own kind. What acts of treason have you committed to end yourself up here?
Apparently, I murdered another guard when we were on patrol, though I've no memory of it.
Do you believe yourself capable of such a thing? Would you ever do this?
The truth is, they either knocked me out or I blacked out, I don't know, but I awoke in shackles in here with you all.
Do you suspect...
The truth is, I don't know. Maybe I did do it, or maybe it is some elaborate setup.
Are you a capable fighter?
I'm a very capable fighter. House Keskrit is not a large house. We are not one of the top 10 families in Menzoberranzan. Why someone would want to set me up, I don't know, but our people are ever scheming, though you might not know that, half-breed.
You'd best watch who you're talking to. And I spit at his feet. I walk back. And I say, like, come on, Jim Jar.
Jim Jar just kind of shakes his head and slowly trails behind.
Guys, I don't know about that Sareth dude. He is probably bad news, but he won't talk to me, and I'm half drow.
Why is everybody
Okay.
bidding on each other?
Why is everyone what on each other?
Bidding on each other.
I had to win a bet. I believe Jim Jar, you owe some comrades something, maybe.
Hmm?
Yeah, didn't you bet with an alien?
I don't have any money. I just sat here.
It's just a bet.
Yeah.
I said I'd help you talk to the drow, and I did.
You did, Jim Jar. You're a good lad. Good job. Guys, I don't know.
I bet you'd all get caught again. Here you are.
How would you know that? Why would you bet against us?
I just had a feeling.
Yeah? Does your feeling have a name?
It's strong intuition.
And how about this next time? When you escape with us?
Oh,
Do you
you're
think
gonna
we'll
go
get
again?
caught? I have no idea, but I'm not going to stay here and die.
He kind of just gives you like a big smile and says, Jimjar's pretty lucky, so if you take him with you, maybe you won't
I
get caught.
I believe you and I have already made a deal, so
He just kind of winks.
I wink back. But it's
Zahn,
more of a blink, and it's a slow blink, and followed by a ow.
Zahn, speaking of broken bodies,
Yeah.
that dwarf I just beat the shit out of, we could probably befriend her. She yielded willingly.
Is that how friendship works?
Well, it does in prison.
You punch them until they yield, and then
Yeah, find the
Then
strongest one
they're
and
your
beat the
friends.
shit out of them. Haven't you ever been to prison before?
I thought the orc would be the strongest one. Maybe one of the quiet ones.
I high-fived the orc.
Hey, Nalian, did you have any luck with our little toad friend?
No.
How about now, little toady?
And I
Try
fucking
again.
out of here, Stool. Go, Stool. I'll talk to you later. I let him go. Thank you.
Oh, okay. And he kind
Yeah, I
of
know it's been great.
Aww.
he's still kind of like staying close-ish to you.
Does he do?
Now, when he explodes, like, does it just hit the whole room, or only some of us?
Yeah,
Has-
it's an area like he just.
The whole room?
It's that big.
Let's see.
He's gonna be outside.
It's a 10-foot radius.
I
So
like-
basically he has to tell everyone to like gather around if you want.
Mm.
Do we know the last time that he did that? It would be great to have that,
yeah.
like just to talk. But if he's done that recently, then we probably need to change our tactics.
No. He it's you can consider today like the start of the day for all intents and purposes. As
Okay.
much as you can track time down here.
Okay.
I want to go over and heal her.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking to her as he tries
Go
to
with
do his
Rowan.
massage hands. Yeah.
We're not enemies here.
Yeah, we're not. I'm sorry I beat you in the beard senseless.
It's a fine beard.
It's so red.
She kind of nods and acknowledges your beard as well. And says, "What do you-" You can tell that she's a shield dwarf.
Oh.
Ooh.
She says, I hail from Gauntlegrim. What about you? What's your name? I'm Eldith.
Oscar.
Clan Feldrin.
Oscar, and I have no clan.
He's a misogynist. He massages.
No clan.
Only with consent. No clan. I mean, no clan.
I translate. I say this.
We are not enemies.
I also translate.
We are friends.
As you kind of help.
Also, I can understand what you're saying.
What's that? She kind of spits out like the bloody saliva from the blow she took, and with it comes a tooth.
You don't need that. You're still pretty.
I don't know what you were trying to do there, half-drow, but maybe the non-drow half's not all bad. You two, you escaped together?
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
we need to
did it.
stick together.
We need alliances, if you would. Be friends with us.
I desperately want to get out of here and home to Gauntlegrim. It would be a huge dishonor if I didn't recover my warhammer and shield before leaving. These fucking guards probably have them in their outpost using them for a fucking bedpan.
Ugh.
Oh, surely not. It is too massive for such a small wienered race of people. We should go recover it.
We'll do our best to recover it. You stick with us, and I think we'll have a chance.
Yes, we have many friends, many allies here in this jail.
If you make a move, I'll move with you. But not if you bring that orc.
Look, what if we send the orc in first as cannon fodder? What about then?
That's a good plan.
He's so big. Look at those tusks. He keeps grabbing them. What if he dies first? We'll send him in.
I have a piece of advice. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. If you catch my drift.
You fart immediately.
With advantage, you could make a persuasion check.
Oh, persuade. Oh, just persuade. Oh no! Oh no!
Not so bad.
Look at Finny like contemplating, like, God damn it!
Mine is not an automatic fail.
I'm not opposed to using the orc. Perhaps we can come up with a way to make sure that he's useful, but doesn't leave with us, if you catch my drift.
Oh, I catch it.
Oh, I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
That orc's going to die.
I have no special allegiances with him. I think us dwarfs need to stick together.
She's kind of nodding.
I'm not a bit racist.
Yeah.
Oh, are you crawling?
I mean, I'm not racist, but...
Zan's crawling.
Oh.
It's a heartbeat.
She kind of gives you like a gruff sort of like, okay.
Oh yeah, nice. I'm sorry about the beard and the nose and the tooth. Look, I'll get you a new tooth.
And I'll fix you up. And I rolled that medicine check earlier. It was 19.
Yeah.
Massage the mouth.
She says, she basically just like nods, and she says like, and she says very clearly while making eye contact, she's like, you hit like a bitch, but I'll move with you.
Yeah, this bitch knocked you down.
Slap them both on the shoulder, and I go over to Zon.
He's crawling in circles.
Are you okay? Here, let me give you...
No, I'm.
Oh no! He's not okay.
I'm fine.
Oh wow, you're
Just-
squishy. You're so squishy.
I'm so fine. I'm good.
Okay.
Hey, let's try getting Toad Boy to squeal real quick, and then we can, talk maybe.
Yeah, you can see he's been following Nalian around very, very closely. Oops. And everyone's
I
kind
guess
of
I'm still
clustering.
tickling him.
Okay.
Now I'm less tickle, more poking. Is there a fucking button on this thing? Is what I'm wondering.
Oh, for the spore release?
Yes.
Release
Yeah.
the spores.
I know I'm jerking off a mushroom right now, but
Yeah.
whatever.
You kind of just give him like a little Pillsbury
Come on,
Doughboy
mushroom.
style, like a little bit of a poke. Yeah, sure. Yeah. If you want to like actively have him do it near any of the other prisoners, you can.
Yeah,
try to
I
include
aim
them.
it to the east.
Okay.
And then all around these guys, I guess. I kind of started at the east, but then I wavered around. That's how it starts.
Would you be
I'll search.
actively trying to exclude anyone? Because I mean, most of the other prisoners
Oh, sorry.
would have been subject to this or seen sort of these communion circles form at least several times in the past. So
Which makes sense.
yeah. So granted, like if something's going down.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna display it. It's gonna be more. He's under my armpit,
Okay.
and I'm facing a direction.
So you're just trying to keep it a little on the DL then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna get Eldareth over here if I can. I want to wave.
Yeah. All right.
And
Yeah.
with that, I'm gonna speak to Sareth in a
Okay.
private message.
Oh,
Okay.
look, bitch.
So the one
Yeah.
thing is,
Mhm.
and if you were trying to do this on the sly, where you wanted to truly have a private conversation, at a minimum, the most privacy you could have is you, Stool, and one other creature. But basically,
That's fine.
imagine this is like a group chat. Once the spores are connected, everyone in the network hears the telepathic thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's
That's fine.
who's infested
I
with the
don't care.
spores would hear it. Okay. So
But
everyone in this group currently would hear what you directly think towards Sareth.
That's fine. Now, before the spores go off, I just look at them, especially Ro, and I say, "Let me do the talking.
Okay.
No more fists."
Ro kneels.
And then-
Face down.
I give you a good squeeze. So you oh wait, does blessing work in here?
Nothing works. In
So it's magical.
It's just out of habit. You just give him a
yeah, you
Yeah.
still do it.
Like,
You still gotta do it.
It still
doesn't
feels
do
really good.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels great. Yeah.
Okay.
And when I first start to talk to him, the first thing I want to bring up is, let's see, who do you think could have framed you? Was it another guard? Did you piss somebody off?
I'm just gonna see. It's possible.
Maybe we can help.
You hear him, and he seems a little intrigued at this point, especially after Jim Jar's interaction earlier. He says, "Look, I don't know exactly what happened. I am accused of murdering another drow guard when we were on patrol or on a work detail. I don't even know. Now, is it possible I pissed someone off? Sure. Is it possible that their house has some long vendetta against mine? Of course. Is it something more than that? I don't know. But the power dynamic has shifted here in the last couple weeks. Jorlin and Shore have shifted roles. Was it related to that? I don't know. Jorlin was humiliated.
Oh.
He was maimed by some gray ooze creature down in the pool when we were on that patrol. Now, allegedly that happened when the murder took place. Possibly Shore himself maybe machinated some sort of act to go along with that. Or maybe I just actually did it and can't remember because I'm going crazy down here.
I have a question. Are you glad he's dead?
I don't even know who it was.
Well,
Zahn chimes in, just says, "Yeah, you were framed," and just has his eyes closed.
do you want to get out of here?
Yes.
And he kind of
Zahn. Yeah.
you hear a yes chiming in.
Yeah.
I know you want to get out of here, Zahn. I say to him in verbal language. We all know you did. We just escaped. We just tried to
Zahn
escape.
just has his eyes closed.
He pauses for a long moment, like several moments seem to pass, and
You can start anew.
he's thinking, and he looks down at Stool near you,
Mhm.
and he says, "The Myconid, the little sprout there, mentions Neverlight Grove being a sanctuary.
Yeah.
Maybe I could find solace there and become an outcast. It'd be better than rotting and dying in here, or whatever torture awaits me when they haul me back to Menzoberranzan.
Still, would your people welcome him? Someone trying to find a sanctuary to live in harmony?
Neverlight Grove is a sanctuary for all. But
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
how to get back there. I don't even know
Okay.
how I got separated from my tribe.
Well, I say to Sereth, I got one final question for you. You were a guard here. You know this place really well. Where did we go wrong?
Zahn sits up.
Oscar sits up.
You've heard the stories. You know where we were.
Well, you managed to escape. That's step one. But navigating the Underdark, making your way, it's an impossible labyrinth. Where you went wrong was having someone who knows the roads, who knows these areas inside and out. Even your little sprout doesn't know his way home. But I do.
I think more than a few of us know our way inside and out of the Underdark.
Now, out of character,
Uh-oh.
you both know the Underdark terrain. You know how to survive, you know how to traverse it. It'd be like saying that your favorite terrain is forests. You wouldn't be able to say, like, I know all the landmarks, I know all the pathways through any forest ever. But you
Like
would
space.
be able... Yeah, exactly. You would be able to traverse it. You would be able to survive it. You would be able to... Yeah, you can survive. You can make your way through that. So none of you know this area, which is why you fucking bumblefucked your way down some hole into some abandoned citadel and got caught again. Sereth, in this conversation, is telling you that he knows the pathways down here. He's been a guard, or was a guard, for many, 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 many years.
Sereth,
Oh, go for it.
where would they keep personal artifacts, weapons, gear, personal things, personal items, special items?
Huh. I'm very impressed with Zahn. I've kept a keen eye on Zahn, and I like that his question.
He ponders.
I sit up.
He ponders for a moment, and he says, "It depends on the item." It says, depending on what it was, it'd be in one of several places. If it was something that they thought would be amusing for the Quaggoth creatures, which are basically like, you guys would know, kind of more like the super grunt guards, like the trained laborers, like somewhere between you slaves and prisoners and the drow.
Not that.
Well, he's kind of like, okay. He's like, well, if it was some crap like that, they might be in the Quaggoth den. If it was extra special, perhaps one of the priestesses, or sure, the main guard have it in the shrine to Lolth, the main spire, as it were. If it was something else, something in between, it would either be in the guard tower or the elite guard barracks, which is one of the other 3 spires.
So, how many guards are there total? I mean, throughout this entire complex.
In all.
Because I have a feeling we'll probably have to fight many of them.
And in addition to that question, to add on to it, who is higher than what's her name? Mizium?
Mistress Elvara?
Yeah.
That's
Mr. Davara.
I couldn't read my own handwriting.
The Elvara, no one is here higher than Elvara. She, at least in this outpost, is like number 1.
And how many?
And
in terms
how many?
in terms of the guards and the amount of drow here. Give me a moment.
And I would also, and maybe this is just like drow knowledge, but would priestesses have like particular magical powers?
Oh yeah.
Like, is
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. They're basically like dark clerics that worship the evil
Okay.
goddess Lolth. 1 second.
I have an idea, my brethren. Once we're done questioning.
I've got so many questions, like close to 50.
Well, I have a single idea.
He says with him no longer among the ranks and the guy that he allegedly killed, there are probably about 19 drow out the outpost, including the priestess and everyone else. And there's about a dozen quaggoth and some number of giant spiders that live in the network of webbing that makes up the barrier between here and the lower levels.
And can I, since we've been on work detail before,
Mhm.
where is the lift?
Oh, you can see it. So like if you go to the map,
Oh, I see it. Okay. So it's basically, yeah, that sucks. Okay.
this thing. Yeah, it's between the two. It's between the two spires that the more elite drow guards.
It's by the barracks,
retired
which
to.
is the worst possible spot for
Yeah,
that. But
and
cool.
it's usually guarded by 2 quaggoth creatures most of the time.
Look, I have an idea. There are several of us in this jail cell. We could probably all work together to lift up this portcullis straight up and then drop it down behind us and get out of here. You don't have to die like dogs in this prison cell.
Yes. Okay.
Look how many we are. We're at least 15 strong. We could lift up this gate.
It's a plan. There are items that I will not leave without. I don't expect you to wait for me by any stretch of the imagination, but I also imagine the drow priestesses have some artifacts or some interesting items for your interest.
In your mind, you hear a gruff, "Aye, my warhammer and my shield."
Yeah, and I have a couple items as well.
My goals are only to subvert the drow. Anything I can possibly do to thwart them, I will do, including getting your weapons back.
It's not just weapons.
I say verbally, because we're still a little bit of a distance away from Sareth, but I say verbally to Ro, careful, he still is a drow, and I don't think he doesn't like his heritage. I think he's come across a bad situation.
I don't like my heritage. I'm half drow. I hate half of my heritage.
But he's a Folsey.
He's all the way.
He's full retard.
Well, let's fight that heritage together.
Sareth,
I used while they're communicating, I do want to use a detect portal to see if I just want to close my eyes and feel the vibrations of the room and notice if I can sense any interplanar portals, or if this,
Okay.
Holy shithole! What even is that?
You can do that.
Yeah, what?
You begin to like meditate for a moment, and like as you do so, there's almost like a glowing blue that sort of washes over your eyes.
I look like Avatar when he goes into Avatar state.
Oh,
There you
the
go.
arrow lights up.
That's ridiculous.
There's a portal.
Oh
my god.
You feel like this zen-like state for a moment, but you immediately feel like you're being blocked or barricaded, similar to the other magics you might have tried using.
Oh no.
Is that the room?
Yeah.
Looks like brute strength is the only way out of this situation. Let's lift that gate up.
Sareth, so if you were bewitched and you killed someone when you were in a bewitched state, does that mean that you still harbor good feelings towards your fellow brethren. If we're trying to escape, there's a decent chance that we will have to kill some of your former friends. And I'm curious where your allegiance lies.
He kind of he looks at you, and he mentally, says to you, I am an outcast now, and will remain one amongst my people, at least those of this outpost in Menzo Brandon. If we need to kill to make our way out of here, and if you'll accompany me to Neverlight Grove as your little mushroom friend wishes to do, then I'll do what I have to.
Okay. And since you were a guard, when is the best time? This is the beginning of the day. When is the best time to make a prison break? I know the times that we have tried before, and I know a few things.
Well, the problem is the shifts. There's no way they're going to put all of us into one of the 3 shifts for work duty again. So
Is that the only way to escape, is in work duty? Because there are items that I cannot leave this place without.
he's pondering.
Okay.
If we all want to escape together, we need a way to get out of this cell together. Maybe some of you, when you're out, can find a way to get a key and free the rest of us. Maybe some of you, when you're out, can gain some intel and find an opportune time or find a way to create one. But the fact is, they will never put all of us in the same group. And again, like out of character, they're gonna constantly split you up into 1/3, and that 1/3 will have their daily routine of doing work, some kind of menial task. All right, sometimes a more laborious task as well.
Jim Jar, I know your background. Have you taken a look at the door, and do you think it's within your abilities, perhaps to... If you had a tool, maybe?
Well, without proper tools, it would be certainly more difficult, though not impossible. We could try to fashion some sort of lockpick.
Yeah.
It would make it notably more difficult than if we had some proper thieves' tools.
Okay, but
Brute
you know
force could be an option, but it's a pretty strong-looking door.
You know what a decent set of thieves' tools looks like. Perhaps we can pick up some bones and or
Look, I have a belt.
items.
I'll take my belt buckle off, and you can have my belt buckle and bend it into shape.
You don't have a belt. I mean, all you have is like the manacles.
Oh.
You're
yeah, bro,
down.
you're in a jumper.
You're in
you
your
got
skinnies.
a jumper. Okay.
Suddenly, I look down and I'm a jumper, and I snap to reality.
Like, yeah, you forgot we were disrobed. We were just on an adventure for so long.
I thought I had a belt. Who took my belt?
Okay,
so disrobed us.
So just to solidify our plan here,
Yeah.
we need lockpick. So I imagine some kind of bones could be
Oh,
the word
bones.
that
I
I'm
have
looking for.
those.
Sanded down to be the proper fit, like small ones, small bone, like finger bones.
I have an idea. Yeah, keep thinking that, and I just keep going over your plan. I'll be listening, and then I start walking this way.
So let's just assume that we can get through this door right here. Yeah. Then we have to go to the guard post. I know nothing about the guard post. How many guards are typically there? What kind of weapons? What's the schedule like? Give me the details.
pondering. So let's outline a few things. Prisoner jobs. All right. You all will be sent off to do any number of things. And if we zoom way the fuck out here, and for the sake of not being prisoners pondering things for 5,000 sessions, let's lay it all on the line here, right? So this is the outpost. You know what's in store from you based on what the other prisoners tell you, especially now that you've got Sareth talking a bit. And you also know from your previous time here. Sometimes you'll be asked to just coil a bunch of silken ropes into perfect loops, like the full 50 feet of it, and then you'll be asked to uncoil it, and then you'll be asked to do it again, but better. And they'll kick it over while you're doing it, just shit like that.
Oh.
Sometimes you'll be asked to go to the main hall, which is over here. Okay. And in the main hall, it's just like a feast hall / hangout with a small makeshift kitchen in the back where a drow with a Quaggoth assistant is usually asked to cook, and sometimes you all are asked to clean up after them, occasionally help do things like peel the gross parts off the mushrooms, things like that. You all are often asked to move large, heavy boxes around between. So basically, these two rooms here are the barracks, and this is basically the outpost. Usually, there are about 6 drow per barracks. Sareth is telling you that during the right moments, you might only find 1 or 2 drow per chamber actually resting in there. The other ones might be off on patrol or something like that. You know that these smaller doors, one all the way to the north and one all the way to the south. Are you guys seeing the full map here?
Yep.
Those are just small little watch posts that are intended to look down at the Underdark below. The down far below, as well as sort of overlook the walkway on the cliffside where the outpost is here. Those are just small little outposts, usually just probably a couple drow stationed there. Go back to here. The Quaggoth Den to the north, you'll often be asked to clean or bring food to them. Usually there will be a physical altercation because the Quaggoth would just kind of smack you around. They are very crude creatures who seem... they're subservient to the drow as well. But they seem fairly loyal from what you've seen. But the whole room in there is just littered with nest-like mounds of debris and scattered bones from many of the Quaggoth's past meals. They pretty much use this place to just sleep and eat. I don't think there are many female Quaggoth in there for obvious reasons. And they tend to be very aggressive, these creatures. But they seem, again, very obedient to the drow and even respectful of the giant spiders and things like that. 1 second here. Now, beyond that, you might be asked to do things like, massage drow feet after taking sweaty boots off, moving heavy scores of boxes from the barracks to the guard outposts, which are here and here. And that's where the more elite guards are. Oftentimes you're asked to stack stuff up outside between them near the lift. You are never allowed inside the shrine to Lolth, which is the main spire where the priestesses stay. And Shore, the head guard, the head male drow is. You are asked to sort of clean and carry shit to and from the main guard tower, which overlooks your prison cell. And you heard tell, and Erky probably talked about it, having to hack apart other prisoners who were either killed by the drow or spiders or by a work accident into pieces to feed them like raw spider food to the spiders. And occasionally you're asked to, work the winch to the lift to haul things up and down from the lower level, whether it's sometimes people, drow, supplies. And occasionally there is sort of like a arts and crafts session where you're forced to do drow craftsmanship, like sculpting spiders from black stone. And Elvira will usually just walk by and just stomp and crush it and tell you to try again. It's not worthy of Lolth, the Spider Queen. And on, last but not least, the rare occasion you've been asked to go fishing at the bottom of the waterfall, which is like wading out in the ice, freezing cold waters of the pool. And you've never caught anything. You've never seen anyone catch anything. No one's ever ate fish or any kind of sea creature or water-based creature. And the guards are usually just like laughing as you sort of shiver in the cold waters. So if something's in there, you've never seen it. Yeah, there's a bunch of other random things like the chamber pots, washing dishes, laundry, things like that.
Okay, so for the sake of expediting this, because I don't know how much everybody wants to RP a lot of this, can we come up with a basic plan? Can we just assume either through the day or the course of a couple days, we come up with a plan?
I tinkle. Yeah. I mean, we can montage it a little bit.
Okay, so I think important things to note, Casey, Klug, Kyle, if you guys agree, would be obviously we need to pick the lock, so we need to scavenge something to help pick the lock.
I think we don't
out.
necessarily need to.
Can I help with that part really quick before we go to lifting the door?
Yeah.
I walked away a long time ago, right?
Well, yeah, we're kind of montaging, so.
Yeah.
But
What I
if
was
you
gonna
want
do.
to, yeah.
Well, the reason why I had to kind of repeat this is because I did my homework on this guy.
Okay.
This guy, last time we were here, he talks a lot. He's very talkative. He knows a lot of things he probably shouldn't. He's a talkative dude. I'm going over there and I'm going to ask him where the fuck to go. What I was going to say is, think of Bruce Willis in Fifth Element, where he's not bullshitting anybody. He just goes over and says, I need a lockpick. No. I don't want to hear the conversation. I need a lockpick. Give me a fucking lockpick.
Okay. That's cool.
Okay, let's try it.
Intimidatingly.
So
if I have to.
I can intimidate with you if you want.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, if you want to RP that now, that's fine, and we can talk about our plan in a little bit.
I just wanted to jump in there because when you said lockpick earlier, I was like, oh, I think I have an idea to get one of those. That's why I left the conversation.
Cool. So
all right, I'm going with him.
If okay, yeah. Do you want to do that now, and we can just talk about our plan afterwards?
Yeah.
He looks at you like he was expecting you almost. Like he's been, you can tell he's been.
I took longer than normal.
He's taking it all in. He says, I have a few ideas. Why don't you, Nalian, make a? Are you trying to be intimidating, or are you trying to be persuasive in your approach here?
I feel like I'm being persuasive, but it's in an intimidating fashion. I think like Chris Tucker, the way he kind of just manhandled it.
I'll be bad cop. I'll get in his face.
That's true. You did just beat somebody.
I did. I beat that dwarf.
I'm more persuasive.
Yeah. I'll be intimidating.
Okay,
as we walk up there.
Why don't you try persuasion first?
Oh, that's little Boopio. Come on, we need a lockpick, buddy.
Boopito.
Boopito.
Sorry, I'm working on it.
That's alright.
Oh no. Persuasion.
No.
Failed.
Good cop, not very good.
Bad cop cracks his fingers. Do you want to keep playing now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, go for it.
Alright, I walk up to Bupito and I lift him up off the ground by the cuff of his thing. He's like up in the Yeah, his feet are off the ground, and I point over with one hand to Eridith. I'm like, see that dwarf over there? She has 10 times the beard you do, and I just beat her half to death. You'd better listen to my friend.
Kind of just tilts his head towards you and gives you like you guys kind of like he's just got like the smile of like a coal miner, he's just like gnarled like
he's not gonna pay. He's not gonna do it.
No. He's kind of give him a moment here. He's smiling at you. He's not gonna be so easy picking the lock again. But,
I set him back down on his feet by the cuff of his collar.
And he's looking up at you with like these milky white pupilless eye sockets.
Well, what would make it easier?
I shake him around a little bit.
Stop shaking me.
I stop.
Kind of whatever thin garments he has on, kind of like loosens his slave collar, his manacled collar, and you're all fairly frustrating, but resourceful given your last escape. It's gonna be quite challenging to get out of here again, but I could part with a few thoughts I've had in your absence, should you bring me along with you.
Yeah. Why not? Sure. Anybody else? I said, even though I know there's guards watching, they don't fucking care. They know what we're doing. I say to everybody.
Everyone except for the meditative fishman monk in the center of the room kind of gets a little bit closer.
Oh.
What's happening?
Poke and I when it's so I say, poke him over there.
Yeah, but Peter's kind of just like scowling, looking at me. He just kind of shrugs. Look, look, you fools. The drow have been getting very restless, even more so since you all ran off. Word has it, the patrol was supposed to come here from Menzo Berenzin several days ago. Still hasn't arrived. No one wants to be here, including the drow. Where the fuck are we anyway? What is this place? That priestess? She hates it here more than you do. And just kind of spits.
I spit too.
Her former lover, because we all know he was, is scorned and quite displeased by the situation.
Oh, I see now.
If anyone's gonna help us get out of here, you should try talking to him. You could probably work him over real easy. That young hotshot she's got in her spire now, and he's like clearly talking about Shore.
Yeah.
I bet Jorlin would do anything to make him look foolish. Word has it, Jorlin only lost favor because shit went south real bad on his watch near that pool.
Oh.
Maybe you want to talk to the other priestess. Can't tell you how many times I've heard of drow priestesses climbing the ranks by sabotaging the one right above them. These are just a few of Bupito's clever ideas. But picking a lock with your manacles on and no supplies in an outpost hundreds of feet above who knows what down below in the Underdark just to run off and die and get caught again. Sure, we could try that, but I'd rather have a better shot at actually pulling it off, yeah?
Yeah.
Totally. How do you know when you're talking about Jorlin? When does he usually come around this jail cell? Is he on a shift? Has he been demoted?
Jorland's been demoted to the elite guards like some of the others. Sure enough, he'll be watching over one of the work duty patrols later
It's funny you
today.
said "sure enough," huh? You know what I'm saying? Because of the.
Do you think does he come around these parts often? Can we get his attention somehow? If I yell,
We know that what Fiddy was saying, that we would do some of our work duties inside the elite guard towers. We'd probably run into him as part of our work duties, just as a observation.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, like, in terms of time moving and scheming, you guys can play this however you want. You can.
I mean, yeah. I assume. Do you guys relay that information? Do we still have mental powers?
And as I come back over to relay the information, okay. As I relay the information, I say, and also trying to impress. What's the guy's name? A satire or whatever the hell his name is, like Seraph. I say this. Yeah. After I relay the information, I say, treachery, deceit, and death. This is the Drow way, is it not?
Oh.
And that's a big Drow saying.
And he. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even seem like,
Okay,
like that,
okay.
like.
But I say it in Drow.
Oh, okay.
Are you Drow, Casey?
You would know. You would know. Ro especially would know.
Yeah. I know.
And most of you would have an inkling of an idea that like moving up in a drow city like Menzo Branzen, a house would do so by removing a house that was above them. And the art form of like drow cruelty and deception is 100% that, like, right, it's the idea that you could murder and annihilate an entire house, which would be, all the guards, all the females, all the males, all the children, everyone and everything. And if you can do it without a survivor, then it's like one of these things where like all the other drow, it's like, nice job, you move up in the ranks. But if someone survives, if someone is there to call you out on it, then you failed miserably and you will be punished. That is drow society in a nutshell. So that is just fucking normal. So yeah, deceit, deception, cruelty, cunning, all just inherent in that social structure.
Cool. Awesome. So what do we need to? OOC.
So I would say step one is whenever we get a chance, we need to talk to Jorland, and we need to talk to. Potentially, I don't know if we want to, but we could talk to Asha Vandry of House Vandry. Granite Shore is also of House Vandry, if I remember correctly, and he's the new fuckboy. So perhaps talking to Jorland first is I would say our first step.
I agree, and I'm going on that mission because I speak the second most Italian.
Well, we will see. So why don't we see what's going on for the day in terms of work groups?
I instantly know you pronounced Italian wrong.
Yeah, but I say the drow equivalent,
Yep.
Why don't we have everyone, just to keep it simple, roll initiative?
Okay. Okay. We're in jail. We've been tortured.
High five.
Oh wow, yeah.
God damn.
We did it, dude. We broke the game.
Fucking nailed it.
We got it out of our systems. It's gone. It's gone now.
Right. In the first work group, mid-morning, they call Ront. Let's see, how many NPCs do we have? Let me do a little
Goodbye, Ront. I cherished your company.
This is nothing significant yet. Just trying to get a sense of numbers here.
Goodbye, Eldrith.
I like that we've recruited all these people, and it's gonna be just like Lord of the Rings, where most of them are gonna die.
Yep.
Or Game of Thrones, we're all gonna die.
There you go, Game of Thrones. I was gonna say Lord of the Rings, only like one guy died.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that die.
That was in the first movie.
Sure. Lots of people died, but of the Fellowship, there's only one.
Right. Well, we're still the Fellowship. These are all just tag-alongs.
Yeah. They're gonna get their horns cleaved in half.
16.
Cleaved in twixt.
I like Game of Thrones reference better because that means any of us are also on the table. that
Is this it?
potential
Are we
death.
gonna die? Are we finally gonna have a death? In TNT?
All I know is that he said that there was gonna be roughly 19
Ooh,
drow
Yeah.
here, and we have a lot of numbers here.
But what I'm hoping is
We're
that we can
60.
get Jorlin. If we get Jorlin on our side, we can get him to send out at least half of them on patrols. And instead of 19, we're now facing 10.
Now, I do want to. I'm going to ready a quote that I would like to say. Okay, I'm going to whoever. If I don't go, if whoever's going, because it's all about shifts. A good thing for him to say to him is something like, "A weak drow is better off dead,"
Oh,
which is another
that is true. Yeah.
drow quote.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
So, Prince Darren Dill, Eldith and Ront, Oscar and Zahn
Oh.
are summoned for the first work duty of the day.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Now,
Goodbye, old fellow.
I'm not dead yet.
Everybody say goodbye to
See ya.
Oscar.
Bye, Oscar.
He's too late. He's too far away.
Bye.
You give him the same goofing off treatment.
Yep.
Okay.
He's so old.
1 second.
He'll never survive the day's duties.
You lot
collapse.
are tasked with emptying all of the chamber pots, including the ones here, and in the various guard barracks and the Quaggoth den as well. And the Quaggoth don't usually hit the mark of the chamber pot, so you know that it's probably going to be more than just picking up a chamber pot and bringing it down below to dump and clean in the pool. So you kind of go through these tasks, and you can stop if you want to do anything, observe anything, interact in any way. The Jorlin, the drow you were talking to Bapito about, is not around when you're doing this. Zahn and Oscar.
Perfect.
But the first thing you do is get all the chamber pots in your own cell here, including all the ones for the prisoners. You're
You know which one is
escorted. You're escorted out. You're basically brought to the lift, past 2 Quaggoth guards, and basically several drow are accompanying you and just stopping every time you get to a place. And they go down the lift with you. Now, the lift itself is a little bit limited. It's a winch and basket device consisting of a large swinging arm that carries a thin cord of strong spider silk. It runs through a series of pulleys from hand-cranked horizontal spool to a heavy woven basket suspended at the end. And it's kept up on the platform when it's not in use. So basically you load up into the basket, and the 2 Quaggoth attendants remain by the lift to watch from the single from below when you come back up. And basically comfortably 4 medium creatures could fit snugly in the basket. And in this case, they force the 5 of you to split up into 2 groups. And 3 of you plus a guard go down in one, and then 2 of you plus the 2 other guards go down in the other. And you go down, and then you come back up. And this takes pretty much the whole morning. And if you want to stop anywhere, please let me know. But you'll be basically going through the whole outpost, picking up fucking chamber pots.
Oh yeah, pick them up.
So Zahn, Oscar, your morning
Little-
starts off smelly and uneventful. Is there anything you want to do, observe, etc., when you're on this patrol?
Absolutely yes. Would love to look for hiding places. I would also love. Are we actually going inside? Do we get to go inside the little priest? You said no one's allowed in there. Do we go in there to clean out chamber pots?
You do not.
Okay. I'm looking for hiding places. I'm looking for this is like a massive perception check of general guard times. I don't want to do
Everything.
perception checks, but
Yeah.
this is like reconnaissance is what
Okay.
this is. This is
Yeah, and you
I
don't,
may
you
not
don't,
be
need
able
to,
to
you don't
speak
really
to
need
him,
to. You don't need to roll if you're just observing some of the basic stuff here. The main guard tower here looks like it's when you're coming through. The shift looks like it is just 2 more grunt drow and 1 elite guard drow who seems to be like the lead guy in charge here. So it's about 3 people who are there when you come through. You also note that, and I can go ahead and this will be do a little bit of this. So you go through there, and then I can, if you pull up the side view as well, I'll do the same. So this is the guard tower. This is on the side view, right here, that same guard tower, and you only see the lower level when you go in. And you have to go up this rope bridge to get in there. And basically, you go to the lower chamber where you go to collect the chamber pots. And you can see that the guards here seem fairly distracted. Yeah? They seem to be just talking, playing dice games, and mostly just hanging out, killing time. You also see that there is a rope ladder that goes up to the top, and most of the furniture here it's wood-like. Your drow knowledgeable friends would tell you that it's carved out of a certain species of mushroom, where the stem gets very, very stiff when dried out. It's almost like wood. It's referred to as zerk wood. And so
Very
these guards are just hanging out like table, chairs, etc. And
Are our weapons in there? Would we see them as part of their armory or something? I assume they have an armory, especially in a guard kind of place to quail prison breaks.
You see some equipment in there, and if you had to guess, there's a lot of random supplies here on this lower level that you go into. If you had to guess, if there was an armory or other supplies, it'd probably be upstairs.
Okay, I go upstairs.
You're shot dead immediately.
They're distracted. I will sneak for it. I don't care.
Okay,
Oh.
you could try making a stealth check while you're
Yeah.
gathering. Everyone's
Rub.
gathering.
Tingle him.
A little rub
Do you
that
have-
lad.
Do you have a chamber pot?
The guards with you who are escorting you on this patrol wait outside. They're not too worried about you going into a room of guards.
Okay.
And you
Yeah,
see that it's like a rope ladder with a hatch up top, like
Okay.
a trap door, but it's open.
Okay, I go up there, and do I get a D4 since we're outside the room? And Oscar just bless me.
Guidance.
Guidance.
Eyebrows.
Oh, okay, hold on.
That's
Oscar,
a good angle. Magic works.
guidance is just vocal and somatic. Yep. You feel that touch.
Heyo.
I'm fine. I just
Okay.
I'll take it, but I'm gonna
Okay.
hold on to it.
So while Oscar is bumbling about the chamber or something, there's
So much poop.
Yeah, you find an opportunity when things are being gathered up to kind of like quickly and quietly climb up the rope ladder, and you get like you just peek your head up enough to see what is in fact an armory, and there are just like laid about fairly organized numerous chain shirts, numerous suits of studded leather armor, tons of
Whoa.
shields, crossbows. You can see cases of crossbow bolts, short swords, daggers, bags of something, small pouches, lots of coils of rope. Many of you would be familiar from that in your time coiling and uncoiling said lengths of silken rope, and some other construction supplies like building hammers and bags of iron spikes.
Do I recognize any of our gear?
If any of you had just basic gear, probably it's in loose piles like on the floor. Whereas like some of the stuff is very orderly and organized. There are two sort of like almost lidless chests, like just like sort of storage boxes, and there's just a bunch of just random shit in there, and you think probably most of it's the more mundane stuff for most of the prisoners.
Oh.
Okay, and are there any guards up here? Or,
Upstairs,
I
no,
assume
not at all. No, this is
Okay.
like a storage room.
I want to jump up and I want to grab 2 bolts, crossbow bolts, and then I'm gonna go back down.
Oh.
I want to look around for a forked twig.
Very specific.
I knew that.
Oscar, you're down in the lower level, just like looking around.
Yeah.
Well, a forked twig.
You know, like a Y shape.
Yeah, that's the one.
A broom.
I mean, you see some of this zerk wood. Like everything seems to be made out of the zerk wood.
Maybe I can fashion one out of it.
And are we checked before we go back in? It would determine what I try to get. If we're like patted down before we go back in the prison.
You're not typically patted down, but again, like your garments are like, you know, think of
Loose.
think of guys building the pyramid, right? Like you've probably got like a loincloth and maybe like a loose shirt, but that's about it.
Yeah. I want a bare minimum of things. Just like even if like I would probably try to find a place to put it.
Where?
If I can find a place to put 2 bolts.
Uh-oh.
Where would you put those?
Yeah, where are they going? Which end's going up first?
Well, are there any is there any rope or anything that like is tied across like a belt or something to like hold our garments?
Yeah,
Like,
well,
is there-
you have a belt that's like part of your manacles. It's like an
Then
iron belt.
I would tuck them on the inside underneath, like in my shirt.
Okay.
I would tuck it into the belt, like but on the inside of my shirt, and make sure that it's like real loose through that part, so no one can see anything. Does that make sense?
Belt hide
Like it would be
the bolt.
underneath it, but I would
Yeah.
I would stick it into the belt, but inside my shirt.
Okay.
Your belt hiding the bolts.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm into it. So yeah, you just to show you what you see up there.
A common male tactic.
That side of you. You're up in that
Typically with boners.
second floor deal there. You managed to secure that. Now, Oscar,
And a small dagger.
Yeah.
you
Hello.
looking at all this Zerkwood furniture, everything around the room here, you could try to like grab, whether it's like a writing utensil or break off like a piece of the wood. You could try.
It can be very small, and I
Yeah.
want to hide it in my hair.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
but before I hide it, I'm gonna use it. to,
I mean, you.
call out-
I love everything that you just
Yep.
said. Could you please say everything again? Because I loved it that much.
I want to locate an object that is my shield. So I cast locate object using this forked twig that I just found.
Oh. And then stick it in your hair.
Well, I want to be able to keep hold of this twig.
Very important.
I can hide it in my beard. If I need to, it's a very big beard.
Like your downstairs beard or your upstairs beard?
Either one.
I like it. You know, like yeah. All right. You grab it. And you kind of like whisper a quick prayer. Now I need you to make your own sort of stealth check here.
Oh.
I mean, you're in a room with 3 guards gambling, so
Come
the
on,
difficulty
downstairs
rating's not
beard.
ultra high.
I'm gonna try to be real quiet.
Downstairs beard.
Need you to beat a 10.
Yeah, touch yourself
Oh, that's
first.
50%. 50%.
Yes, I
No! Oh, no!
Tie goes to the runner.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. Like you end up having to spill one of the chamber pots like as a distraction. And like the other prisoners are being like yelled at and forced to clean it up, and in that moment, as Zahn is like just coming back down and definitely made to help clean some of that up as well, you kind of get a hold of a piece of this wood and wrap your hand around it and whisper a prayer to your god, and you immediately sense that your shield is upstairs right above you.
Oh.
And there's like and as you kind of break off the twig and put it in your hair or something.
Yeah.
Or something.
Or something. Okay. Can I is it just one object, or can I name another object while the spell's going? It goes for 10 minutes.
It holds up to 10 minutes. Describing it. Let's see.
But can you see it through like objects? Can you see it through wood
Except for
or
lead. Lead is the only thing I can't see through.
Yeah, which would
Of
be like a
course.
special protection.
everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's concentration for 10 minutes. Sure.
Okay. I'm going to try to visualize that warhammer that the female dwarf Elif described.
That's really
So
good.
I've never seen it, so
Yeah.
the only thing I can do is imagine. I've seen warhammers, so I'm just going to imagine a warhammer and see if I can find one.
You get a sense that it's somewhere in the elite guard area.
Oh.
Elite? Where's that?
On the
Oh, you're
map
drawing it.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
hey Fiddy,
Mm.
I would assume that I'm obviously helping Oscar like clean the stuff up, and
Mhm.
he's getting this like would I notice this distant look that he's getting in his eyes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to like elbow him and just kind of like give him a look that's like what are you doing kind of thing.
And I lean in. I've found my shield. It's upstairs. Did you see it?
Can you find objects?
Yeah. Eldest
you-
warhammer is way off that way.
Look.
Went at the wall.
Clean harder. They kind of see you all whispering and like kick you when you're on your hands and knees like Cinderella style, like scrubbing up shit and piss that you spilled.
Poop
The clay chamber pot like shattered into pieces.
I wait until like I clean away from Oscar and then I clean back towards him, and as I'm passing, I say, "Can you find a gem, a colorless gem?"
There's like a shit stain on the floor that leads
And I
where you were over to Oscar.
and I keep going past.
It makes a bigger circle.
I just imagine a colorless gem. I've never seen the specific one you're describing, but I'll imagine I've seen a gem before.
Unfortunately, that's all I can explain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
That's how
fine.
it works.
You kind of get a slight sense of dread, and you get like numerous readings, and they're all emanating from the main priestess shrine.
There's too many. They're kind of that way.
Mm. I assume you just point like at the wall. I'm like, okay.
They're in the wall?
It's like 100 feet that way.
Okay.
70, yeah, 100ish.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, okay.
If we
that's
want to
it.
expedite this and get
Yeah.
Kyle and Casey
Yeah.
on their
Okay.
shift or whatever.
I'm good. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. Well, you go through cleaning up this one. You go down, and this is again like you're going all the way down to the pool, down below
okay.
on the Underdark lower level, and you're meant to dump them out, rinse them in the lake or whatever, and you get a sense that some of the guards seem a little hesitant near the lake, for lack of a better word.
Like they don't want to get close to it.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, clean real good. Don't go too far out though, and they're just kind of like laughing.
Is
And
it safe?
I just jump in the water.
What? No. Get.
Oh!
I jump in.
What are you doing?
Not all the way, but just
Okay.
enough to like. This is an act of defiance, just like
Alright.
everything else that Zahn has done up to this point.
All the guards like
Fine.
stop and stare, and like they
Oh my
seem
God.
like they're waiting. And you make a perception check, Zahn. Well, you can as
Okay.
well, Oscar, since you're probably looking from the shoreline here.
Oh my God.
You see something moving in the water. It almost seems gelatinous and water-like itself. Like you can't tell if it's just like a weird shimmering of light, but you sense something sentient, and you think, despite your enjoyment in this defiant act, and you see it as well, Oscar, though not as clearly. Oscar, you just get a sense that there's something out there. Zahn, you get a glimpse of it and
Yeah.
immediately think you need to start
Yeah. I
backtracking
get.
a little bit.
As soon as I see that, I do the seeing a shark in the water, and I just make right for the shore.
If this was less brick wall and more stony cavernous floor near the wall, the distant wall over, like you guys are probably down here, and over on the wall, moving down it, like right along where the surface of the water meets the cavernous wall, you see a gelatinous shape, kind of like
It's a brick wall.
and then it sort of like moves into the water surface and disappears, like it's coming towards you slowly.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I get out. I'm not gonna stay in the water.
Okay. And the guards are just like,
I stay in.
okay. So this continues. It takes several hours for you to complete your shift. The only last thing of any particular interest that is certainly not anything related to you all, but when you all go into the Quaggoth quarters, do this
They're
guy.
big chamber pots in there.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they have chamber pots, dude. Like, let's be honest. They don't have chamber pots.
No,
for
they're
shoveling
civilized.
shit.
They're domesticated.
So when you're going in here, you can see that there's only about 2 or 3 Quaggoth actually in here during the day. But again, like this is a nasty like nest-like mound of thing. And you're right, it's not actually chamber pots, but it's just piles of like, it's like, you know, when a dog shits in a field, but much more vile and gross. You're meant to clean up the piles because the drow can't stand the smell, especially the drow who are stationed in the outpost right next door. And they can't stand the smell. They don't want it drawing, like carrying crawlers and other things, let alone seeping into the other, nearby rooms that the drow have to live in. So you're meant to just clean the shit up, like just kind of sweep it up.
Are they like really paying attention to us, like as we're shoveling stuff and throwing
No,
it?
they're just kind of like just hawking. They're just like sitting there like.
Okay.
And
Is there like
when Prince Darren Dill is with you, they all kind of like scoff at him, like, "Murph." And you hear them do you either of you speak Undercommon?
Undercommon.
No, I don't speak Undercommon.
The hell
Okay.
did you just say, man?
Yeah. And well, Prince Darendil, who again is a Quaggoth but walks like he's like instead of a big gorilla, he walks like a man, and speaks Elvish. But as soon as he enters, they're like throwing the shit at him. They're like, you can't understand what they're saying, but they're deriding him, and like he's just without doing any kind of spoilers or anything, like they're doing the shame walk, basically like kind of just, jeering at him. And he takes it. And you hear him just muttering something like, "Savages, why must I wear this form?" And he's saying this in Elvish, which I think at least one of you probably
I speak Elvish.
You hear him muttering to himself in Elvish, like, comments like that. And you carry on. And for this, like, you just meant to, like, carry the piles, and you literally have to just carry it, like, and dump it over the side into the down below.
I find a little spot by the guard post, like maybe just an empty spot. This is just a little flavor thing, and like a spot that's
near
kind of hidden
next door.
Yeah, because they hate the smell.
Yeah.
And so I want to leave just a little turd pile, kind of hidden as best as I can.
You could try a little sleight of hand, because I mean, the guards aren't fully paying attention, and this is like, boring as fuck. All right, yep. You
a nice little pile.
You play hide a Duke.
Yeah. And then and then we can get done with our work detail.
Okay.
Or whatever.
All right. Yeah, you complete your work detail. Alrighty then. So you all make your way back, and I'm just gonna kind of keep you together for the sake of breaking this up. And next we have Sereth, Topsy,
Oh God.
Bupido,
Boopido.
and 2 PCs would be Inalian and Roe.
Because we rolled those one.
Oops. Okay.
One bros.
High five, one bros.
And actually, one group has to be larger than the other due to size. So you also...
Our two NPCs.
You also gain a, let's see, Bupido. It wouldn't be Turvy, so it would be Stool, actually. Based on the initiative order. Okay, so you guys are Group 2. And you are midday. You are meant to do a number of miscellaneous tasks while you're out and about. So one of them would definitely be helping prepare and bring lunch to all of the guards.
I'm good at lunch.
Which in fact would give you an opportunity to go by the elite guard chamber where Jorlin.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Sure.
How would you do it?
Uh-oh.
Whoa, what am I
A
doing?
wood chipper? Have you ever?
David!
What's happening?
Alright, hit his button.
Oh yeah.
That's not me. I'm muted.
I think it's Cloak.
Oh, is that me? Sorry.
Your mic's picking it up, bro.
No.
Well, not all, just a little bit.
Okay.
Alright, anyway, back we go. Lunch crew.
Alright, lunch crew. So, do a little bit of this. A little bit of this. So, lunch crew, again, like you pretty much go everywhere except the priest's tower. But you do get the lay of the land otherwise. So I'm just gonna open all this up here. So if you go to side view and top view and kind of scroll around yourselves a little bit, you can kind of see. So your first stop's the main hall, which is here. Now, again, this cave is basically a gathering and eating place for the Drow and warriors of the outpost, not the Quaggoth. It's got 4 circular tables, again carved out of this zerk wood, each surrounded by 5 chairs. And then the far part of the hall, kind of like in this nook down here, that where the red circle is, that little nook is basically been retrofitted to act as a food preparation and storage area, containing stocks of dried and fresh fungi, dried fruits, cheeses, even preserved meats, and a few clay jars of spices. And considering your diet of thin mushroom soup and the odors of mostly chamber pots, like all of the odors of these stores, like you're just like salivating anytime you've come in here for work detail. Anything smells amazing at this point. And at this point, it's fairly quiet in here. There's probably only about 2 to maybe 4 drow in here. And I lied. Actually, there are occasionally some quaggoths in here, also on hand serving and cleaning. But the food preparation is you mostly just like meant to haul crates over. The quaggoth come and bring them to the drow, stuff like that. And then you're all, you know that you're going to be used to basically just deliver the food to these different locations in the outpost. So
Okay.
That's stop 1. If there's anything you'd like to do there, talk at me.
So are we? So we're in this room, and there's food down below in the 10-foot radius,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a couple of dudes in this room,
Mm-hmm.
and like, are we picking up food to deliver it to other areas, or are we?
Yeah. Like, I mean, the first thing you do is initially just like start putting food out on all the tables in here.
Okay.
Stool's not ultra valuable to them for this task, but like he's being used for
It's
other,
like R2D2 on the skith.
Yeah. Like they have him just like doing little things around like the kitchen area, I guess you could say.
Okay, what kind of food am I getting loaded up with?
Again, like it's just each plate has some fresh fungi. Like probably it's just like a small spread, almost like an appetizer type plate. Like that's a meal here.
Am I like a waiter, like holding plates up on top of my hand?
Yeah.
Like, is that the situation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I pick up a whole bunch of plates, like almost impossibly high.
Okay. Well, I mean they only load you up with, like 4 at a time or something like that.
4? I could do better. Give me 5.
Sure.
Does everybody's come with a roll?
You mean like do you have a specific roll?
No, I'm sorry. Does each plate come with like a dinner roll, like a bread roll?
Oh no, there is no bread at all. No, it's
okay.
Like again, it's a.
Oh, that's the fungus soup.
Yeah, it's this is not the mushroom soup. That's what you all get, which is probably just like the leftover stock from this stuff. But this is dried and fresh fungi, some small pieces of dried fruit, cheeses, thin slices of preserved meat. It seems like they're rationing, and that's pretty much it. I mean, and they seem seasoned. Like it smells good.
Yeah. No, I know. That's why I want the flavors.
Yeah.
Load me up. Give me 5 plates. I can handle it.
Sure. Like the chef kind of like scoffs. He's some drow guard who's on cooking duty.
When I'm in there, as I'm just collecting plates, do I see any, like, in kitchen there's always like rat poisons or things like that to keep pests away? I know we're already here. I know it's not really a clean kitchen by any means, but is there any devices like that that look like they're here to keep pests away? Poisons in particular?
Not really. Again, this is just like a makeshift cavern.
Yep. Okay.
There is like a heavy iron brazier, which is what they use for heat for kind of cooking. But most of the food, other than like the thin slices of meat, is served cold. Beyond that, I mean, there's all kinds of like just utensils and supplies for chopping, cutting, and preparing the food.
Okay.
Do there. Give me some extra utensils for this. this extra plate that I have here. I want to make sure that they can eat it properly.
The utensils that you need are on the plates, half-breed. And they kind of just like, go, put the food out. Come back, we've got it. We've got to deliver the rest to the guard outposts for those who are on duty.
You've got it on the double. Here I go. Come on, Nelian.
And
Yeah,
go you
follow.
do. Who's with you? Topsy, eh? Sareth, kind of looks at you all and like manages to stop and like put a plate down on one of the same tables as you two, and kind of like looks up at you and says, "We should consider getting some supplies." And he's not suggesting like right here and now, but in terms of food in the Underdark, he's basically hinting that like if you're gonna make a break, it's not mandatory, but it wouldn't be the worst idea to have some rations with you, should you escape.
Definitely. Agree.
Ro has already shoved one of the forks down his loincloth. It's just a little bulge. It's wrapped around.
Okay. It's a zerk. It's like a wooden. Like you ever eat.
It's a wood fork. Oh.
Yeah. Like everything's made out of this zerk wood, which is like a hardened wood.
Yeah. All right. He puts in his hair instead.
I put some fungus in my butt cheeks. Some mushroom. I'm kidding.
But seriously.
Hey guys, look, I brought mushrooms back
You got some butt fungus?
Yeah.
From whence it came, it returns again. Fungus in the shit.
Ro does sneak a little piece of cheese in his mouth and attempting to heal up to full HP.
Okay. Yeah, it tastes amazing after.
I don't see an opportunity yet to take a supply, but as I walk out, carrying the dishes, I am whistling a famous drow tune called the foolish and unwary find awaiting death.
Oh no.
I'm whistling it cheerily.
Alright.
Like it's some ignorant white guy whistling when the Saints come marching in some diner, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The cheese tastes so good that I ignore the song.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It falls on deaf ears.
1 second. So let's say. So I mean, this goes on, and then eventually, you're done here, and like the only task left is to like do the door-to-door deliveries essentially. And unless you have anything else you want to do here, eventually your task takes you to the elite guard barracks right outside,
That sounds great.
which is the one mostly connected to the lift.
So I've got an extra plate with extra silver, right?
With extra silver?
No, you just have an extra plate. It was
Yeah, so I mean, like you're delivering plates to the drow in this barracks essentially.
But I was like, hey, load me up. I can take. Right?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
like
okay.
you wouldn't. I mean, whatever. You're bringing plates. You unloaded everything here on the tables that are in the mess hall, and then you're being asked to deliver a very specific amount of plates and food to each of the guard barracks. Now, you know that you're going to like stop at a couple of them when you're out here. Let me just pull. Give me a minute here. So, okay. So the main chamber here is the one that Jorlin is residing in. The main, elite guard barracks that I've sort of circled on the map. You all are asked to deliver food here. This one, along with the one that you'll probably be going to next, for the sake of time, are pretty much the same in terms of styling. They contain drow elite warriors. There's a couple of them who appear to be off duty. There is a Quaggoth with them in here as well. And similar to where Zahn and Oscar were, if I go to the side view map, these guys basically appear to have a lower and upper level as well. If you can see that on the side view map there, but you're only going into the ground floor, so to speak. And it's also similar in that it's got a rope ladder running between the upper and lower chamber through a Zerkwood trapdoor.
So you
the
said
guards-
Jorlin was in the purple?
Yeah. And the guards here are in just like wood. Wood can be kind of basic. The furniture in here appears to be very fine, like very finely carved. And Jorlin, along with a couple other drow, are sitting in chairs around a table, just kind of hanging out, mostly meditating, reading, playing cards.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
A while back, I mentioned, and I don't know if there was an answer. I can't remember. I couldn't find it. That when he shot the spores, Stool shot his spores. That if there were some on the ground, I wanted to pick them up. Did I successfully do that?
Stool?
I wrote it
From
down
Stool
here.
From Stool or from another thing?
From Stool a long time ago. I wrote them down here. I said, Nana looks on the floor. Are there any spores left? If so, I won't pick them up.
It's hard to describe, but basically, the spores themselves are almost alive, and they've got like a very short lifespan.
Okay.
You can pick them up, but the function of the spores seems to only last for that 1 hour or so.
Gotcha.
Now, that being said, with Stool with you, Stool seems like ultra buddy and like eager to help. And so if he's only used them once today.
Okay, I'm ready.
Early this morning. You could ask him to.
He's gonna spore into the one dude's fungus.
Oh,
only the one dude's
into the food.
Into Jolaron's. I'm gonna carry Jolaron's food, and he's gonna put the spores in there only.
Okay.
Nice.
Here, come onto this, little mushroom man.
Okay.
Little mushroom man.
Someone thinks I'm talking dirty to myself, but I'm just talking
Yeah.
my mushroom.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, you make that work. I'm into that.
And I take some of them as well.
Okay.
And
I
give some
imagine
to
Ro as well. What about your Topsy and Bupido here, or Sereth even?
No, Pepito talks too much. Sareth can have some.
Okay.
And Topsy and Turvy, I don't trust them enough.
Okay.
So I do it on the DL.
All right.
To those few.
And do I see Jorlin like straight up in there?
Yeah. Actually, let me grab his token.
Oh man, he looks scary.
Okay.
As we present Jorlin his food, I want fish to him.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, we can kind of hand wave past some of this. You utilize Stool, and eventually you feel that same telepathic connection that you've felt several times before now, and Jorlin appears to be online in your spore network.
No, Jorlin.
Yeah.
I say what I say
yeah.
to him.
Okay.
What'd you say to him?
We're in Spore Network now, so I suppose it doesn't matter if
everyone. So anyone in the network's gonna hear this, yeah.
Yeah, I say, Jorlin, greetings, my friend. Many of the prisoners have been wondering how is such a warrior as yourself so. Why is this new filth taking your place?
And then I chime in with another great drow quote. Darkness is both friend and enemy.
Oh.
He, having finished half his meal, he. Now, are you staying in the chamber when you start communicating with him, or are you like?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm walking around. I'm not making eye contact. I'm just going through the motions. If he doesn't know it's coming from me directly, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'll keep
and
serving food. I'll buy in.
it's fair to say that everyone here is under a bit of a rationing system, and you got that sense in the kitchen. So all of the drow and the quaggoth in here immediately start like chowing down. You know, like a dog at feeding time. People
Oh,
are just
no.
like fucking hungry. You're not the only ones. So within moments of entering and handing him his meal, he tunes in to your network and hears you, Ro.
We can help you make Shore look like a fool and bring you into good graces with Miss. I can't remember her name. Sorry. Looking it up again.
You immediately hear like a very sort of stern and serious voice, and he just says, "You're all very clever, aren't you? First you escape, and now you find a subtle way to communicate with me so that even my peers who are standing around us cannot hear our thoughts. I'm not unfamiliar with the gifts of the Myconid people." And he kind of looks at Stool, and like Stool kind of like almost hides behind Nalian for a moment.
We use them for mutual benefits. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
like
what
we're both
you mean.
using the mic and this mushroom tip, you know.
He looks towards Ro at the comment, and you can see clearly now, like his scarred face, like whatever happened, like clearly fucked him up pretty good. And he takes like another bite of like dried fruit and just looks at you all, and like while he's chewing, he's just like talking to you. And he says, "Sure is a worthless little worm of a drow." He's kind of measuring you all. He says, You've all been fairly interesting and quite disturbing in your own right. A little bit of chaos could certainly make him look like the fool that he is. Accidents do happen, yes." And he's takes a bite of the cheese and follows it with a small bite of the meat. He's taking his time with this meal, trying to, justifiably keep you in the chamber. As unlike the other place, like when you go to the guard places, like you're being meant to like wait and then take the plates away from them.
Yeah, we're standing off to the side.
Yeah, you're kind of like the servants, like standing off to the side, exactly. And like he's doing all of this while still like casually playing in like a slow-paced card game, because obviously these guys are like kill an entire day in here sometimes. And
can I mention one more thing to him?
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's like an endosymbiosis.
Oh.
We help each other, and we're out of here forever, and you're back where you want to be.
Much like the spores that are in all of us right now.
Yeah.
I say the thing I said too. The Asha thing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I could do for you to keep my hands clean and keep things entertaining. What if one of your thin mushroom soups happen to have something in it in the next couple days, like, I don't know, a key.
Oh,
An accident.
that would be much appreciated.
What you did after the fact would be up to you, but I could, when your evening meal was delivered, try to delay the guards who watch over your cell for about 15 minutes, and we could just see what happens from there. Regardless, it would be entertaining. And if it happened on Shore's watch, and he's just like, again, like not talking, but smiling as he takes the last bite of meat, well, that would just be delightful.
Rose starts laughing audibly. Ha 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 ha!
You see the quagga just like, almost like, quagga! And it just like stands in front of you for a moment.
Ha 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 ha!
Um,
And like all the
And do
drow just look at you for a moment.
do we know what the shore looks like? Like, I mean, I hear the stories and stuff, but have we seen him? Looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was the one who got. He's not the one that almost got killed, was he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and you've
Okay.
seen him, and
Sure,
you
sure.
know from
Cool.
word around the outpost here that he stays in the main priestess spire.
Okay.
Yeah, just north of you here. And he kind of like he sort of shrugs, you know, finishes his plate and kind of gives you a nod and gives you a look and a last thought of like when the key's in the soup, you've got your window of opportunity.
Great.
Nice. Nice. I say
Sweet,
it
yeah.
back in my mind.
He tells you that it'll be at least a couple days when he was talking to you.
Okay.
Okay. And then, yeah. Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
Oh, and then again, I say, more danger, more glory. After he says the key thing. And I say it in drow.
He seems non-responsive.
Yep, good.
Oh,
Whatever.
Yeah, perfect.
Whatever tools. And him and the other drow have pretty much finished their meal at this point. And your work continues. You go to the next elite guard outpost. And you go to the main guard tower that looks over your cell. As well as the two small ones, delivering food to all of them. And this sort of process continues for a couple hours. If there's anything else you want to do, you can let me know. Otherwise, we can fast track past that.
Are there can I check to see if there's any like pebbles or anything like on my way back, like over the bridges, around the edges of the wall there?
Yeah. I mean, there's pebbles here and there.
Okay, I want to kick
yeah.
one off into the spider webs.
Nice.
Okay. Sure. You do that.
Does anything happen?
No. Not
Oh.
that you can discern. I mean, you don't really have the luxury of stopping and watching for a while.
Okay.
By the way, I am visually disgusted by the amount of spider webs I've had to walk through.
When he does do that,
hate
the one
it.
thing you do sense more than you see is just like this shimmer that just ripples through the network of webbing. And again, like this isn't just like strands going across. This is a fucking interconnected, crisscrossing, three-dimensional mass of volume of webbing. Would redirect you to the poster. Like this shit just goes down, down, down. Like it's deep. So when you hear that prisoners jumped in there and some managed to escape, you know that some did not. Like they got stuck in there and eaten alive, probably, or half alive. Like in a sort of stunned cocoon state. Cool. So yeah, you kick a pebble over. You're disgusted by the spider webbing. Anything else you all want to do during your shift?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
I definitely want to relay that message to the rest of the team that we could be expecting a key soon. Soup
Okay.
key.
The final patrol goes out. Just do
Oh, Erky and Ezeric. Bye. Ezeric doesn't come back.
Huh.
Erky is sad. 32. What did you roll?
Their percentage if they'll survive.
Yo.
Oh, man, I can't wait to. I'm kind of excited to have Stool with us. He's going to be quite the
He's
ally.
a walking dick.
Yeah, the telekinesis or
Yeah.
telekinesis of people.
He's like R2D2.
He totally is R2D2.
Right?
Fucking fungus shaped.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
So this group goes out, and you kind of get a bit of a grave feeling.
Oh,
with
no.
how long they've been gone.
They don't come back.
And eventually they come back after several hours. You're not sure exactly what they were doing or what they were working on. But the guards with them all stop in front of the gates here. Let me just go.
Uh-oh.
This guy. And give me a moment. I'm gonna bring the rest of you back in. Not you.
Oh, we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch as they die. Their heads come off.
I have foreseen this death.
Yeah. Again. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
And as they come back, you see Asha. You pull.
Oh. That cunning bitch. She runs the show, huh?
No,
She's the apprentice.
she's second in command.
Oh.
But Shaw is with her. Poor Shaw.
Shore and Asha's like sort of just like walking along the bridge here. And you can just assume that there's other regular guard patrols with them as well. Actually, this calls for
Crazy music?
This calls for some good stuff.
Uh-oh. Our first death. The first death in 3 years.
And like Asha's just striding down the bridge. It's like barely moving as she kind of glides along it, like looking perturbed. And
Asha, your boobs are out.
sure, again, like they're of the same house, which just means they're loosely connected. They're not necessarily like blood in the very direct sense, but the two of them comes striding out, and there's several guards and a couple Quaggoth around as well. And she looks at the gnome Erky, who you all recall from before.
No, I like Erky, no.
And she just kind of like points at him. She says, He will do just fine. My spiders, my goddess, are in desperate need of a snack. It's been far too long, and that one, along with those others, they have a much higher price to pay. And,
Oh, no.
And she kind of like walks forward and pushes, like with the butt of her barbed whip, pushes Shore forward, who in turn just like carries that venom into Erky and just kicks him to the ground.
Oh, Erky.
And he just starts kicking him until like you can hear every last rib cracking and breaking. And he throws, and again, like, you know, they're circled by several guards behind them here. He throws several rusted short blades down in front of all of them. And he says, and Erky is still alive, just not doing great. He says, "Start cutting me some spider meat." And he points at the halfling. And the Svirfneblin, Turvey, picks up a blade and just kind of shrugs, starts walking forward, and just brings it down into the like Erky like screams out.
Erky,
Shushar the Awakened just stands there, arms crossed, doing nothing. A Quaggoth just like clocks him like with its huge arm and just sends him to the ground, and they start beating on Shushar as well, and they almost take pleasure in kind of making him watch, even though he just passively refuses to do anything. Jimjar lets out an audible sigh, but looking at the drow guards moving in around him, picks up the blade as well, and also starts stabbing and hacking. Ezric joins in as well.
No, Ezric, no!
And you're all just seeing this, and Erky,
I thought
like,
I
just
knew
continues
you, Ezric.
to scream.
Oh, no.
And slowly but surely, Erky, half alive, is just hacked until he is completely unconscious and nothing more than spider bait, spider food. And
Erky, heal!
they have all of them take pieces of Erky and walk over to the edge of the platform here, and you can all visibly see this. And let me just go in and grab a couple things real quick. And several incredibly large spiders come skittering over the edge.
Dude. That looks like a ball sack spider, oh no.
Yep. Definitely a ball sack spider. They have 10 fingers.
Klug, what do we know about ball sack spiders?
and like they just start like eating him. And the guards like they kind of use like certain hand signals, or like at least Asha does, and she can kind of see her like whispering a prayer like, "Loth, take this offering," you know. She's kind of going on and on and on, and she forces the spiders to stop feeding eventually, and they leave the upper torso of Erky, including his face, and have the Quaggoth like sit his half bloodied guts and torso just sitting up in front of your prison cell, staring at you, and she looks at you all and says, "Can't have them have their whole meal in one go. We'll feed them more tomorrow." And she pats him on the head and just turns and walks away and starts striding back down the platform. The guards take the rest of you all and put you back in your cell, and the spiders just like skitter over the edge, and you see like the webs kind of ripple until they eventually settle and stop. And then they do.
God.
That was terrific. I didn't think he was gonna make it anyway, to be honest.
I look over to Ro and I say, "What is your feeling of spiders? You're half drow."
I could not give two shits about spiders. I killed them the same as. It's just a piece of flesh to me.
I hate the fuckers.
You're work detail is done for the day. You know that the rest of tonight will pretty much be sitting around the cell waiting for your thin mushroom soup and resting.
I want to question Ezeric.
Okay.
Ezric, you did not even resist cutting Urki up. He saved your life twice. And just slashed at him. What? Why? And what have you seen of this before? Have you died and lived to this point?
I've seen this before. Should I resist, they merely would have made me kill him, and it was inevitable. Urki was going to die and become spider food.
Which else of us are destined to die?
In
Who
here,
else?
my visions aren't so clear.
It's impossible with you. I'm going.
The next time you go out there, start having more visions.
Yep.
So we know what to do when we're in here.
I'm gonna find a nice pile of rocks and just curl up and go to sleep.
Okay.
I ask if Stu wouldn't mind being my pillow.
Oh, you're just gonna like flump over him.
I wanna even put my head on him.
I
Okay.
pull a gym jar aside.
Okay.
Jim Char, will you be my pillow?
Well, I tell you this. I know tonight's a lot of setup and fucking painful exposition. You all can take tonight, or if you want to montage it a little bit, take the end of this session to wrap up or engage with any of your fellow prisoners. Based on what you've done, you feel like something's coming, something's going to happen. It won't be tonight, you know, with certainty, but it'll certainly be in the main feature of our next episode. So this would be your final opportunity, or at least close to it, to engage in any planning or interrogations, discussions, anything you want to do with those of you that are stuck in this cell. So I think in terms of wrapping up our episode tonight, that feels like where we could get to and have a nice clean break point. If you have other things, just throw them out there. But that's what I'm feeling.
I think the only thing I want to do is make it clearer to Eldeth that I meant no harm, and I'm sorry that you were the victim of my crime.
She's missing a tooth.
Yeah. Look, I'll get you a new one. Don't worry about it. We're getting out of here.
She kind of looks at you and says, "You helped me get out of here, and consider it's fair. You helped me get my hammer and shield back, and I'll travel with you and watch your back."
We'll get that hammer and shield back, or we're gonna die horribly trying.
When the one last thing that Nylian wants to do is when the lights are out and everybody's going to sleep in this bunk, I just want to yell so everybody can hear, "Ginger! What are our odds?"
Just like when everyone's doing that thing where you're at the sleepover and you just kind of yell, like, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of jokingly, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
also curious what he has our odds at, because he's coming with us, right? Everybody's in on this, yeah.
Everyone's trying to get the fuck out of here, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Says, says, I bet some of us will make it and some of us won't. And he's just kind of like laughing.
That's perfect.
I laugh too. I chuckle back like a
Yeah.
morbid.
Yeah.
Some of us are getting out.
Do
and
you
some are...
do you remember that bet you made that I couldn't get one of these, and I kind of show the inside of my shirt, and I've got one of the arrows.
Oh, you've got two.
I pull it out. He only sees one. He only needs to know there's one. Perhaps you can use this to help fashion yourself a lockpick.
You're improving quite rapidly, Zahn. He says, like, almost smiling. He's like, now, next time, bring more back.
Oh my god!
And I show the other side of my shirt where there's another one. And I just smile at him, and then I put it, like, I just close it back up. I don't give it to him. I keep it.
He smiles, kind of patting you on the shoulder, like almost like a proud parent. And as you put the other one away, you realize that he's kind of like got the other one between his fingers.
Oh!
Like,
Just grin.
always, and he just goes on about a lecture about like kind of leading the the focus to one side and doing the whole sleight of hand business by distracting.
Always pay attention to the hands.
That's right. That's right.
No, don't pay attention to them.
Shushar, who is quite beat up by his protests there, like speaks for the first time in a while. He's kind of like wobbling around and sits down near the middle of, close to the two Swerfneblin and near where Zahn and Jimjar are talking, and before Naily and Stool kind of doze off, still near the gates here. He says, "You all are leaving, yes? Perhaps." And he kind of looks at the torso of Urki, staring at you all from the gate. Says, "Perhaps I need to leave too.
Listen.
I could help you navigate the Dark Lake.
Oh,
Should we make it?
a guy.
And I could
as
guide
long
you
as
to
you're willing to be active. That's kind of important here.
I can be a guide, but I will not raise my hands.
That's fine,
I know
but
the
do something.
dangerous, many mild waters of the Dark Lake, and you'll likely need to traverse it should you wish to get far from here, for it surrounds most of the areas near here. If you wish, I could guide you to my people's village of Sloopadoop,
Oh, Sloopadoop.
where we could
I like that
acquire,
place.
we could acquire boats, and you could go where you wish from there on those boats."
Sounds good to me. Okay,
He
well,
just kind of like closes his eyes and ponders.
get some rest at least. Try to heal up.
Yeah, you look like garbage.
You don't look good. I'm sorry, there's nothing that we could have done to help you.
Everyone else is sort of just watching on edge. It's almost like there's that energy in the air of like children on Christmas Eve, eager for what is tomorrow, the day when's shit going down. So again,
And you hear aliens snoring.
Again, I leave you all, if you want to have any final conversations, any questioning, anything at all. This is one of your last opportunities to do so. But if you're good, that's totally fine too.
I think
Pretty good.
I think I'm good. I think it's sleep time for a row. So curl up and
Okay.
It'd be funny that while I'm sleeping on this thing, he accidentally has a wet dream, basically, and then somehow I'm talking to someone or something, or we're like connected in our dreams. It's something ridiculous.
oh,
You
he can see it.
Our dreams, this really weird friendship dream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Spiders involved somehow.
And all of a sudden it's just like images of underdark fungal glow and mushrooms and caverns.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And like you're just like walking
crazy.
down a path in there.
Yeah, okay. It's
And then
awesome.
all of a sudden,
Boy, dude. Still's a good guy.
Okay. Well, certainly a different kind of episode, but I guess the parting thoughts would be to marinate on all the things, cause shit's gonna hit the motherfucking fan
It's
pretty
death
quick,
time.
pretty quick on episode 10.
I have
Erky's
one
dead.
Well, I
Yeah.
have 2 goals for the next episode. One of them is I need to find that gym. The other thing is to Spartan kick someone off the edge
Right?
of the
That's-
platform. That
I
is
threw
like
a pebble off the edge. to
top
see what
priority.
happened. Yep.
Gonna get
Okay.
a Spartan kick to their death.
All right, dude.
All right.
We'll see how many. We'll have a challenge. We'll have a Spartan
Yeah.
kick challenge.
And
Cool.
kind of like what I was spouting off in the G chats earlier before the session. This more than anything would be take all the things you've learned about the outpost and imagine several again like you've been back here healing. Several days have passed. One thing, again, that like Sareth and some of the other guards mentioned, they were expecting a patrol of drow from Menzoberranzan to show up at some point several
delayed.
days ago. Never came.
Yeah.
Never made it, or they're just delayed. You don't know what the fuck's going on. The drow themselves here have been getting notably antsy and bored. Like even when they grabbed you near the black tree, you noted Ilvara mentioning just like fucking being so over this duty, this looking after these prisoners, this outpost. And with that, take all your information, take everything you want, and try to like internalize your characters like bullet points of what they want and what they need to do, and think about that as sort of like your own internal direction for that character for next time, because you're going to have, according to Jorlin, a very small window where he's going to try to delay the guards who would be looking after you shortly after your meals and allegedly a key will be delivered. So whether you just fucking run for it, whether you try to recover some things, whether you try to Spartan kick some drow off into the spider webs, you got to figure out how you're going to do that. Now, you do know that these giant spiders and these quaggoth are fairly well trained, but they all are servants to the drow. So, maybe there's some potential there. Who knows? That's all
Basically,
I got. Unless you have any other questions or thoughts.
We're about to die for the first time, guys.
That happens.
I've never
It's
had it
all
happen to
so
me before.
sorry,
I've
friend.
never felt it. Maybe the first time.
Any final words? Final thoughts?
No.
All
I'll
right.
see you in I'll see you in hell.
I'll see you in hell next Saturday.
Yeah. Woo! Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, boys.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah. Good episode.
Later.
I'll see you around.